Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome to another Saturday night paint and chill. How you guys doing out there in TV land? Hey, what's up, George? Hey, I'm gonna go and let you guys in there. I see, got a couple of folks. Boom, boom, with their paintbrushes and whatnot in hand. I don't know what. I can see George. I can see Bo's hand. Uh,
Yeah, I gotta move my camera.
George too.
Okay. Hey.
Hey, what's happening, man? How you guys doing tonight?
I'm getting some painting in.
Yeah, same here, same
Cool.
here. I'm actually gonna play around because I just
Just
I don't know how I missed them, but I got some tufts. For those of you who
Oh,
don't know, little these little stickers that look like various weeds and little bushes and whatnot that I'm going to add to some of the things on my table because I just didn't think about it until I was walking in and I'm like, hey, I got a bunch of these and I never use them. So let's see if I can get a really good close up so you guys can see
yep. Those are
what they
big.
look.
Those are like railroad sized tufts.
Now these are the smaller ones.
Really, they
Uh,
look pretty big to me. Okay, maybe not.
they're
I've got some of the big
about.
ones too.
Let's find out just how big they are.
Ah,
Because
that's what she said.
I've got the Army Painter pack that has like the three different size. Oh, it's not the tool I was looking for on my Swiss Army knife.
That's what
I
she
pulled
said.
the. Yeah, this is. Uh, I was looking for the little ruler, and I pulled out the freaking deadly as hell little wood saw. But they are a little over a half a centimeter. Maybe let's see. Hold on. Be fair. Yeah, they're a little over a half a centimeter wide, and it's best if you they're stickers, but you really need to drop a little super glue up right before you drop them on the base. And I'm going to get my tweezers out. So whoop,
Agreed.
before
I
so my daughter is going to be in the background joining us, but she
hey,
won't hear
that's
what we're
awesome.
saying or anything.
That is
So,
awesome. This is whoa feelings. Where is my super glue?
so
What
this
was I
is hers
doing
right
earlier? Was I
now.
doing anything earlier today? I could have swore.
So she wants to. She's. I'm going to have her finish that. Try to finish that cart that she's doing.
You know, I was just looking at that cart on eBay.
Uh huh.
I got mine with the Kickstarter, but they're charging like $40 for that model now.
Oh
I'm
wow.
like,
Yeah, I think
like
I think I got it for like 20 something. At least on the
yeah,
website, it's
yeah.
20 something.
I saw it for 38. You throw in tax, you throw in shipping, and you could be looking at $50 for that little thing. So
Yeah.
do yourself a favor, enjoy it, take it slow, and hit every little detail, every little thing. Get as many colors on that. It's not supposed to look uniform. It's
Yeah.
supposed to look like a crazy gypsy wagon. So just feel free. Throw in some pinks and some purples and turquoise and just
Yeah.
whatever. Now, if I could find my
She's been
open
she's been
super,
having
I've
fun
got.
putting like gold paint on it in some spots.
Mm-hmm. Have you taught her about washes yet?
We have like the army paints, the what do you call them? The speed paints. So she's
No,
she's
the
kind of
washes, actual uh, quick shade washes that you put
oh like
over the
kind of
paint.
no, not yet. I think that might be
or
the
you
next
can
phase.
take the speed paints and dilute
Mhm.
them about half with the thinned out matte medium and a little water, and the speed paints make really good washes by themselves.
Oh,
And
okay,
then you can
cool.
have washes in every color.
Sure.
Ah, okay. I heard something like you can make washes from ink, like you take ink and you just like dilute it, but I wasn't
You
sure.
Right.
can.
Well,
Well, I do that a lot actually.
I more of a contrast paint of the recipe that's in my head, which is flow improver, matte medium, and then almost a third, and a third roughly of the three, and then ink, and you can make your own like contrast or speed paint with a wash. What you're going to want to do if you're going to make like one from scratch, you're going to want to throw in like a drop of believe it or not, dish soap.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it acts as a it prevents it from
Right.
sticking.
It disrupts the surface tension
Surface
so that it'll
tension.
just
Yeah.
go into all the nooks and crannies and not like stain the top, which is what you want to wash for. So, like, say there's like a blanket rolled up on the wagon or like a bag, and you'll take your wash, like say it's let's just say it's like a big old bag of something, like I think it might
Hmm.
be a bag of loot or goods on top of the wagon, and you
Yeah.
paint
Yeah.
it like bag color, right? Let's say, well, then you'll take like a little darker, let's say tan or brown, and you mix a little water with that, a little bit of dish soap. I mean, like not a drop, like the edge of like the tip of a knife. If you made a drop on a like one single drop, and then you take like the edge of a steak knife and just get like a little tiny bit and mix that in to the paint and the water, and it'll turn that paint into something that won't stick on the top of the bag, and it'll roll down into the crevices
Ah.
so that it
Without, yeah,
so that it like makes it look dark where there would be shadows,
Yeah. Just gets into the
and
crevices.
the original color will still be up on the top of it, and you're going to want
Okay.
to have gravity work with you. So, like, say the bag's on the side, you'll tip the vehicle over, and you'll put the drop of the wash on the bag, and just watch it flow into the cracks, and then don't tip it back over, because then gravity will have it slosh somewhere else, and then you kind of got to let it dry right where it pools in the little nooks and crannies. That's something you may want to wait until you've done all of your base coats, all the different colors, and then maybe even give it like a uniform wash of a light brown or a sepia tone, so that everything looks a little more aged
Hmm.
and weathered. Because unless it's like right out of the shopping center, brand new, everything is sparkly. You might want it to look a little beat up and weathered, like it's
yeah,
been
great
on the.
heat.
Yeah. Like when like, I watch that guy Bill make stuff. That's one of the last steps he does. He kind of just makes it look a little grittier.
Yep, yep.
And then
Like I
You
did
can
with the vehicle I put away, but like this thing, I just hit all over with a black wash, and then I started with a brown wash and a black wash and a rust wash and some other things to make it look grungy,
yeah.
so that it like oil. I actually ordered an army painter effect, which is called like spilled oil. So I don't know what
Cool.
that is. I'm gonna try it out for some of the mechanical things that I'm going to be working on in the future.
Yeah. Look like half the things in my garage.
Exactly. The things that you've like the floor of your garage, maybe,
Yeah.
or if you open up an engine, you open the hood of your car, and there's grease and grime and stuff in places where it's supposed to be, but it looks probably a girl's like, oh, it's all dirty, it's all messy, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's why it runs properly, because it's all oiled and lubed and stuff, kind of like you, baby. So
Huh.
can
with this.
also put a little bit of alcohol in the cracks before you introduce the paint, because little alcohol will suck the paint into the cracks. Without, I mean, if you're using a water wash, not an oil wash, not an oil paint, um, and there are a lot of brands on the market for this stuff. There's not, I mean, it's not just the big three. It's not just Viejo and Army Painter. There's pretty much everybody makes this kind of stuff. AK Interactive, um, you know. So I recommend,
My
honestly, you can get on YouTube and you can Google magic juice for painting. A couple of different guys have made videos without dropping any names
Mhm.
on how to mix it, and I mix it up by the bottle load. It's half contrast, no, pardon me, half matte medium, and then water, and then just a little squirt of soap on top, and then a mixing bead. And I'll usually mix up two or three of these at a time. It's good for It's good for
maybe
basing and diluting paint and really all kinds of stuff.
Oh, neat.
Make
Sorry,
glazes
guys. For
with
some
it.
reason, the messages in the chat are when I hit them, like the earlier messages are not coming up. But howdy, James, how you doing? I was just watching that video you sent. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Squirrel, how you doing? Trying to keep
Squirrel.
up. Trying to keep up with you guys. Didn't want you to feel like we're ignoring you, but I was like clicking on them and they're not like showing up. James L sent me this video this afternoon that I quickly sent over to Armstrong because he's a car guy and he does, gas lands and stuff like that. But of these diecast cars and military vehicles for your war games, they're not meant for that. They're like Hot Wheels, but higher end collectible cars and military vehicles. And, right out of the box, some of those cars look like pretty sharp. If I was a car guy, I would freaking I would instantly be hooked on that. But for like the military vehicles and stuff like that, which is where I stopped because I had to start the show, I'm really curious to see how they come out compared to this little guy here that I was working on. It's a like a 15 millimeter. What do they call it? It's still here on my desk. It's meant for laser burn, armored personnel carrier. It looks like a Humvee to me, but and mind you, this is old school lead, I believe, and heavy as hell. But
That will
we'll
do
we'll
that.
take a look at that video later. So let's see, where can I put a tuft on this particular mini? Right now. I'm going to try and focus on getting these giants done that I got from Cal.
Oh, neat.
But
I'm getting some
where
water.
exactly? Where exactly I could put it? So, how's the little one? Almost out of school for the year, kind of thing.
I think at beginning of May they're out. So they,
That's so
yeah,
weird, man. So weird. We used to get out of school so much uh, later, and we
yeah,
started in September,
yeah, yeah. One
and
thing I noticed, Colorado, they do like halfway through August, not even. They're like they start school again. So it's like yeah, they it just really shifted. I think it's like I think it's cool enough in August that at the time when they didn't really have air conditioning in schools, they could get by with sending you to school. And the grow season here is very short, so and a lot of that stuff is based on the old school schedules were based on like farming and stuff. Like you have the summer off so
Mhm.
you can work on the
well,
farm.
there's that, but they also change it for a couple other reasons that we won't go into here. James
Yeah,
L says Windsor and Newton oil paints are good too. You can
Yeah, yeah.
remove with a Q-tip and spirits.
I'm gonna
Uh,
get some water. I'll
I
be right back.
Yeah, no problem. I've got some oil paints here, and I bought Jackie like all the. He wanted to start painting. He said, "Yeah, the easel is in my room, and all his other stuff is in his room." And that was Christmas. Here it is, April. We'll see if he ever gets around to it. But he said, "Oh, I want to learn how to paint." I'm like, "Paint? You mean like?" And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." I'm like, "Okay, cool. I'll get you some stuff." And like so many things, it's just going to sit there. Unlike music, though, he had his music class today, and so of course he doesn't practice all week, and then the night before music class, which is every 2 weeks, and the morning of he's practicing like like he's cramming for a test, which he kind of is. Um, yeah, kids these days, man. So I'm just gonna put two of these tufts on here and see if you guys can notice and see. I actually got a pretty good match on the color here, I think.
Yeah.
But you see, like right here, and then right over there, just a little three dimensionality of the grass, make it look not so. I think I got a pretty good match on the color that I'd already used for the grass
Oh,
on
neat.
there. You see that, folks? I like these things. I remember the first time I saw them was in like a white dwarf magazine. back in the day, and I'm like, what in the world was that? How do they do that? They take like tiny little threads or some sort of fluff from a jacket or something. I didn't know, how they did that for years, and then I finally saw them available at Brookhurst Hobbies, and I'm like, oh my god, that is genius. So let's get this guy. Again, good match. Let's put a little drop of super glue down. And then after you like place it with the tweezers onto the super glue, I recommend taking one of these, which I just found out is magnetized. It's a some sort of crochet needle. I call it it's my pokey stick for painting, and I've got a couple of these that I've had in my box for I don't even know where they came from grandma or something. Not Jackie's grandmother, but like my grandmother. And I'll just poke it down in the center of the tuft to make sure that the bottom sticky side of the sticker part of the tuft connects with the base and the super glue, so it doesn't fall off later, which you know would be a drag. And then take it off the. Okay, I guess I'll have to do that part by hand because I can't grab onto the. Oh, nice. So I guess I'm using two tufts on this guy. Um, I can't get a hold of this thing to save my life here. So got the tuft. There's the sticker side, and I'm going to drop that onto the super glue. Okay, that's not where I wanted it. Okay, there we go. See if I can show it to you as I do it. See, there's the tuft, and there's the needle. It goes straight down into the center of the tuft to make sure that I get a nice solid pressure right there. All right, that looks good. That way the base doesn't look so flat. Even though these bases that I'm using are Archon Studio bases and they have texture and like roads and skulls and things, imprinted or whatever you call it into the base, they still come across kind of flat. Like even this one right here that's got like it's got chains and a skeleton and stuff on the ground, which I'm going to paint up next. But
What do
it's
you guys
just
when doing colors? Do you like start with like the lightest and then work your way to the darker ones in terms of like overall filling up or?
Yeah, no. If I'm actually painting traditionally, like with layer painting, I usually start with a mid tone
okay.
Mhm.
What
for
happened to
the
stars?
for the for the base coating.
Right,
It
girl.
really depends on what you want to do. I usually prime dark and then base coat mid tone and then layers and then layer up. It's easier to build up than it is to go dark,
Okay.
but it really depends on what kind of effect you're going for. And I usually end up, it's almost like a tug of war with me. I fight as like, this is too dark, this is too light, this is too dark, this is too light. And I'll end up, building up layers back and forth until I'm satisfied.
Okay.
And I almost never really am, but
Squirrel,
eventually
I
you'll
tried
say,
to
you
let
know
you
what, this
in,
is
but I
done
don't know what
enough.
happened.
But
Um,
like with these plague marines, I think I started too light. I started with this almost green beige, and I kind of didn't
mhm.
like because it was too hard to build contrast. If you start too light, how do you how do
That's
you
called a
lighten up
squirrel.
from that? How do you show highlights when you start too light?
Oh, I see what you mean.
So like if I want to have an effect where like the sun is shining right on the top of this guy, and I already start and it's very light, well then it's and I don't want to say ruined because it's not ruined. So
Squirrel,
from
how you
there
doing,
I
man?
from there I glazed down
Uh-huh.
and then and layered down and then started building backup highlights from there. Especially if you want to do like either edge highlights or or just like just natural highlights. If you want your shadows and shadows and your lights and light, then don't start too light.
All right, that makes
Are
sense.
you back home, Squirrel?
Oh, I'm still at hotel.
Said
Painting
you
on the road.
he's still got his road travel kit. Looks like he's got everything he needs to
Yep.
paint up some minis. You know,
Yep.
I was going to ask you about that. What do you use for your actual for the tools and stuff like that? I get that, but minis. What do you like? Is there a brand or a way you pack your minis so that they don't get broken or scratched or damaged in any way when you travel?
I have one moment. One moment. The camera's going to get a little fluff and white. One moment.
I just asked him this question this morning.
Yes, he did.
All right.
Oh, this brush has got a hook in the tip now.
Oh, that has never stopped me. Some of the best paint jobs I did were with. Okay, uh, so
I just
you
used a little plastic sided container.
you don't even throw any foam in there. It looks like maybe a little. I see. Like I'm guessing you take the foam that you get from the blister pack and then just recycle that.
Nope. I don't because 90%, 95% of the miniatures I paint on the road aren't finished. I mean, they're not. I'm not riding in a tank over the trenches of a war or anything.
Uh huh.
They're okay. They'll be fine.
Okay,
And when I
but,
finish them at
but
home, they go in the foam, protectee type
okay, because it
container.
looks like a couple of the boxes had some foam in it. Maybe it's just an angle or the shadows or something. Because
But yeah, I
I
just
saved
use a
that for
little
you.
little Dollar General,
Okay.
dollar store. Oh, they're getting rattled. Whatever.
Gotcha, gotcha. I have some like that. There's one I just got. Well, I didn't just get. I've had for a while. I need to show James L because he's got the Hero Quest, the new Hero Quest box, and I found this plastic box looks a lot like that one that fits right inside the Hero Quest box instead of those plastic trays. You know that the modern games they've got these little cubby holes that are specifically vacuum formed for the miniature, but and they're supposed to
Yeah.
keep them in real well, but if they're painted and you put them in there and then you're pulling them out, putting them in, pulling them out, the tight fit that they've made for them will wreck the paint jobs, and they're just a pain in the butt to get out. I found this box that fit not only perfectly
I mean,
inside the Hero Quest box.
you're also a notable heathen for not sealing your miniatures. So
There you
you know,
go.
I can agree with your complaint on that aspect. But
Mhm. But this box not only did it fit perfectly in the Hero Quest box, and it just raised the overall, the lid doesn't go all the way to the bottom by about maybe a centimeter, but it had enough cubbies to fit the entirety of all the pieces nice and squarely inside the box, so it's easier to get out. And those vacuum form plastic trays that they make these days are just they're gonna crack and break anyways after time. So you might as well just instead of trying like with one game I have, I'm like really careful to keep it all pristine and carefully pull them out and put them back in and blah blah blah. And I'm like, this sucks. I'm gonna find a box, put them in. It's all good. So what are you painting, Squirrel?
oh, gee whiz, um, I'm doing. Let me change my camera here on my phone. Some primitive firearms kind of guys.
Okay. Nice.
like the not quite the blunderblusts, but
Matchlock,
I
flintlock,
couldn't.
that sort of thing.
Yeah, something like that.
Always
Are
like the
those
one.
25 mil or
This
less?
camera, no, they're 15 mil.
Squirrel
I'm
likes his
sorry, this
mini
camera on
small.
this.
They just looked. They looked a little
You need any
larger
metal paint?
in the camera, and you know, every once in a while, I'm hoping someone's actually out there using the old 25 mils because there are millions of them out there that are just gonna end up in a landfill if somebody doesn't play with them.
My daughter has decided to paint one of her air dry clay crafts. It's a mouse with cheese.
Cool.
Nice. I love air dry clay. Are you talking like Fimo or what's the other brand? I love that stuff. Jackie hates it, but because it's like really
No,
hard and stiff, no
no
matter how
clue.
soft you get it.
This one actually seems a little soft. I'm not quite sure.
Or is it
Something my
maybe
wife got.
paper clay? Paper clay is awesome. It's literally. Oop,
Let me see.
we lost
I'll see
squirrel.
what brand I got.
It's literally called paper clay. It comes in a brick about this big. It's about a pound for about 10, $12 now, maybe 15. And it dry. What's up, Mini Warmut? It's just like a regular clay.
Mini
It's
Warbot.
you can use water to moisten it and stuff like that, provided it doesn't get to a certain point. And it dries like so lightweight. I made a tower. It was like about the diameter of an old fashioned like regular sized coffee can, and I
Mhm.
just made little balls of clay to make rocks one at a time. I got it to about, let's say, 4 or 5, 6 inches tall, and I'm like, yeah, I'm never going to finish this, and tossed it. But the whole thing, when I was done, I mean, it was super lightweight, like, you know, like I don't know, only a couple ounces versus the whole pound.
Yeah, I can't find the what where she put it. It's probably drying out somewhere under a
Under
table or
her bed,
something.
under a bed, under a table, something like that. Don't let your old man give you a hard time. Whatever it takes to get your art, into existence. I mean, unless you're letting the clay like dry on the carpet,
She doesn't.
and don't do that. Don't do that. Especially if you've got shag carpet. And my advice would be don't have shag carpet because that's disgusting.
Yeah, she likes to make slime too.
No worries, Squirrel. I had a feeling because you're where you are that they're not going to give you as much bandwidth as you'd like to be here, but you can be here in spirit and watch us and make goofy comments in the chat section, or you can come back if you're feeling frisky and you want to take your chances. So I've used the tufts. There's no more room on the giant bases to put any more without making it look like too busy and too like I'm just trying to use tufts. I also have this guy who's just I don't like the way he's turning out. He's just I think I'm at that 50% point where it looks like crap, which means I'm halfway done. But this is the part where a lot of people give up. They're like, it looks like crap. I've done my best. Nope, you're not done. You're at 50%. So I'm going to push through this one. Again, I'm going to see if
Another red
you
one.
guys look at the eyeball, and I didn't paint anything. That's an accidental spill of some sort of green wash or something that got in there, and I'm leaving it as is because it kind of looks like an eyeball to me. Did you see that in the main eye? No. Well, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm leaving it like that. But I'm going to go over the overall greens with. I'm going to go with a bit of yellow. You know what? No, I'm not because I'm out of the yellow I wanted. That's right. I forgot. That's why I didn't finish this. did an order with Noma's Bazaar, which is a great little miniature and mostly paint uh, seller. They've got a little online store, and it's here in California. And I made the order Friday night, and sure enough, Saturday morning it's in the mail, which means probably Monday I'll have uh, my paint. And I ordered nothing but uh, like neons and plasma glow colors. I went through and just hit either the word neon, glow, plasma, and effects just to see all the like the weird stuff that I don't have. I'm always looking for the perfect neons and glow effects so that I can make things pop when they're supposed to be like a magic item or like a plasma glow on a rifle or something like that. Lightsabers. I've got some right here. Like this mini, I actually it's an old Galacta mini, and the woman did not have a lightsaber in her hand, and I'm like, well, the game needs a female cyanide, so I made one and then sent it to the guy from Classic Miniatures, and he had the actual mold made through Reaper. So there's two minis out there that didn't
Mhm.
have Galacta 25, even though they had them in the book. There was no mini, so I did the work. I literally, pin vise drilled through the hand. Nice, that is adorable. You did a really good job on the cheese. That looks like a hunk of cheese. If I saw that in the refrigerator, I'd be making a sandwich.
It's a hell of a day in the neighborhood. Um, don't sleep again. Don't sleep on the golden so flat neons. They are probably the brightest neon on the market, but they do require you to thin them down to miniature painting consistency because they are a high pigment paint made for painting on canvas. But they are the brightest, poppiest neon.
I'll take a look after I
And
get the
they're and
ones in the
they're
mail.
expensive, but one jar of golden so flat will last you your whole life because they're big jars of paint. They're not little tubes.
Well,
I've got
I've had some of these colors on my desk. Like I was working with the flesh wash. Is that this here? No, that I got back when I started the show. I bought the set of Army Painter washes. It comes with 11 bottles, and the flesh wash. I still have 6 years, almost 6 years later, because a little drop, and you've done the entire, all the flesh on that particular miniature. Uh, but I'll take a look, Bo. If you send me a link,
here's
I got.
this is
I want
not
to say,
even a neon. This is just a yellow. That's it's incredibly bright. It's incredibly vibrant and saturated. But
mhm.
they're white. Their white is absolute the best. The best hobby paint because it's for thinning. They're titanium white. It's incredibly vibrant. It's so bright.
I've been using for when I need that. I think I use Vallejo's Cold White. I think they call it. I've been pretty satisfied, but white, yellow, and orange are probably the three colors of paint that I have the most of, and I'm still not happy with whatever I pull.
Yeah, I agreed, especially regarding oranges and yellow. Well, oranges and yellow over dark colors is an exercise in what sheer hatred.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
Yeah.
I I try very hard to not paint yellow over over dark colors. I try not to paint yellow at all if I can help it.
Well, the trick I heard was for yellow, you've got to base coat pink and then put the yellow.
Well, it
I don't know
helps.
why. I don't know why, but now I've got to use for pink because I normally never use pink. There's only one place I've ever used pink uh, regularly, and I will still do it to this day. Speaking of the old Galacta 25 miniatures, they had these guys called planetary strikers. They're just like regular astronauts. They look like astronauts, big domed helmet, in these sort of baggy astronaut looking uniforms with a laser rifle, and I've always painted them gold in homage to the cat from Red Dwarf when he had his gold lame spacesuit, because on the box of the miniature game Galactic 25, which was a paint and play set, it would come with like 6 or 12 miniatures, a strip of paint by number color, paint pots on the strip, a
Okay.
single brush. If you ever see those
So
brown brushes with the white ferrule and the synthetic bristles, they all come from back that era. They would come with one of those, 6 to 12 minis, a rule book on how to paint and play their little Galactic 25 war game. And on the cover, it had this great image of the miniatures on like a battlefield made with things like cork. And remember when you get those boxes of 22 ammo, it's got that really cool little honeycomb sort of plastic, clear yellow plastic thing where you put the bullets in to keep them standing straight up. Well, it used some of those for like part of the terrain and the scenery. And I was looking at the box as a kid, and I'm like, well, that's cork. That's from a 22 thing. I would just stare at the box. I still have them. As a matter of fact, I've got a couple that are still sealed because they're worth like a small fortune. But on the box, it had a couple of planetary strikers that you get in the box, and I, looking at the box, I thought that their uniforms were gold, but they weren't. They were actually like sort of a khaki tan color, and I'm like, who wants an astronaut a spacesuit in tan, right? Just like seems like just no. So I painted them gold, but then I would paint their visors pink, like it was reflecting the sunset on like a Martian type world. The sun's going down, and you can see the pink glow, a reflection in their visors, the big freaking astronaut helmets. And uh, to this day, I still do that. I've got some out in the garage, some more planetary strikers, which I might bring up here and show you guys. It's over magenta or a dark reddish color or inked over white. Okay. How dare you both? Yellow is the greatest color of the lightsaber. Yeah, it was kind of awesome. I was more of obviously a purple fan or red. When I played Knights of the Old Republic, one of my lightsabers was purple, one was red. I was actually thinking about playing that game again, just because I miss George's game so much, and to keep my boy. Every time I go downstairs in my new man cave room that's in the house, it's not this room, just to chill and sit in the easy chair and read. I come down and he's in there playing Red Dead 1 or 2 in my chair on my TV when he knows that, like, he's up here sitting now. I want to kind of kick back, read a book, and end my day with some reading. And sure enough, he's in my chair.
yeah, I get that with my older one where I want to play a game, but I don't. She doesn't have her own Steam account, so she's either on mine or my wife's. So sometimes she'll be on my account and I can't play, which is good. So I shouldn't.
What are you playing?
Oh gosh, the Beaver game, the Timberborn. It's like a builder.
Okay,
It's a build 'em up game. It's fun. It's a fun little building game. I like watching
okay.
this guy, um, real civil engineer. He's like a civil engineer that plays builder type games and some of these odd games that you're like, who's gonna like play that game? And he's funny. He's a funny guy, and he hates architects, which of course as an architect I as
Yeah,
well
that's
hate
that's the one he's
architects.
playing right now. Score. He wanted me to play it. I played it for a little bit, like partway through the tutorial, and I'm like, I just don't have time for this, bud. You know me, I love the western, and I just if he's not there, like watching me and talking over my shoulder and stuff, I'm just like, this is not as fun. I got to do other stuff, when I really have the time to like play, he's at school, and when he's got a day off, He's going to sleep in and stuff like that. He's at the prom right now. He's the co-check and security guy of all things. He was told, his job is to, get the coats and hang them and make sure nobody comes in with any drugs or guns or things like that. I'm like, isn't that a grown-up's job? I mean, what's he gonna do? Hey, give me that Glock, you know, right?
Do that
Like,
disarm move.
kind of iffy, but and then we found out that we dropped him off at his school, and he said he's got to catch a bus to the event. We figured it's just down the street. There's another school. No, he's in freaking Burbank, which is like an hour drive. Which makes sense now. We had to drop him off at 2:30 in the afternoon for the prom. It's like, yeah, because they're going to be on the freeway for 2 hours.
That's funny. My oldest is at the prom too. Um, she's they have this like kind of a program that they set up like homeschoolers. It's a kind of a augmented thing. They go to once a
It's a
week.
good idea,
So they have
Storm.
a prime. They have like a prom, but like for all the different grades. For like every grade goes to it. So she's at that now, even though she's a freshman.
Yeah, that's what I figured, James. I haven't played like a computer game since like the '80s that I can think of. No, I tried playing Might and Magic again in the early 20 teens, and I made the mistake of reading the strategy guide. I'm like, oh well, now I know everything. This doesn't sound as much fun anymore. Plus, I was getting to the point where every time I would go outside the city, I would just get freaking killed. And it's an old school game where if you get killed, there's nothing you can do. There's no going back to a save. You're just dead. Make new characters. Start over. Put all my stuff. I got like 10th and 11th level characters with cool stuff. And I mean, that was a fun game, but you really had to be really careful with it. So let's see. What am I going to work on? I did get these little guys. They're halberdiers. They're I believe they're dark elf. Uh, they kind of almost look like sort of like desert nomads because they've got these hoods over their faces that cover their faces, except for like just a slit here. But I'm going to go with dark elves. 70 at your school. That was like 70 per classroom where I went. I'm not even kidding. At one school I went to, I think it was like 45 kids per class. Yeah, I have. I've seen a couple of games that looked kind of fun. Sort of like if you guys ever played Fantasy Star Online or what was the other game that was like that? No Man's Sky. Those kind of games where you're just running around, killing stuff, going on missions, collecting stuff, and building stuff. It was a very, very sort of, light-hearted kind of looking planetary, real-time sort of MMORPG kind of thing. But like, I don't have freaking time to sink into anything like that. It looks
No Man's
good,
Sky.
looks fun. I forget the name of it. Like Star Quest or something goofy like that. Which would be absolutely right up my alley. But what am I going to play? And if I make it a priority, there's like 100 other things I won't actually be doing that I want to or should be doing.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of
I
resigned to
think
it. That maybe you know uh, when I get a little older, like I told myself this like decades ago, and I even went out. I've got downstairs in the garage. I've got um, Hitman 1, 2, and 3 with strategy guides. I've got uh, Grand Theft Auto like 2, 3, 4 with strategy guides, and a bunch of other like really cool. long-term play RPG kind of games with strategy guides. Some of the I forget the name of them, but they were like a sort of a weird West Japanese animation kind of games for the PlayStation, strategy guides. When I retire, I'm gonna have time to play these and go through the strategy guide and do all the things that I used to have like a lot of fun doing. Me and the wife, we played one together. I'd play it on my save, and then she'd play it on her save, and that was 20 plus years ago.
All right.
I've had ample opportunity to do that or play those. Never happened.
I have just been volunteered for a project. Yay! I didn't really want to paint anyway. It's fine. There's always next week.
What project?
Oh, it's nothing. It's just I just got a text from the family saying that my presence is requested upstairs.
Well, you could always come back if you get, released from your servitude.
It's pretty much my only night off for a long time. Like I gave you my schedule last night and showed
Yeah.
you that it's like I have tonight off, and then I'm back at the hospital tomorrow night at 11, and then I've got like the next four shifts in a row. Which is, I mean, it's fine. If it wasn't for the wonky schedule, it would honestly be the best job I've ever had in my entire life. Because I get so much reading done, and
I meant to ask you, how are you with that book?
what with Ardalan?
Um,
With what? With
Amber.
Amber or Ardalan? I forgot about Amber for a minute, and I tried to pick it back up again, and I need to. I'm at the point where Corwin and Random and his one of the sisters are breaking back into Amber to try to liberate it from
Eric.
whoever's got it. And
Eric. Yeah, that's a good.
but I got caught up reading the Ardalan trilogy. And I got really bogged down in the chapter on magic because the way David Hargrave wrote that, you get a question like, what does this mean? I don't even know. So I write it down on a note card or post-it note and read like 30 or 40 pages ahead, and then he explains what that thing was that you missed back there at the beginning. So like delayed magic and what was the other one? Oh, there was a whole chart on rune magic, and they're just these abbreviations, and you gotta like literally like 2 pages ahead to find out what the abbreviations mean. So it's not a book you can read casually. It requires. Yeah. I feel like I'm back in school again. Like I was like, wait a minute, am I in college? Is this what this is? Is there going to be a quiz? Is there going to be an exam? But the last quarter of the book is just a module, an adventure.
Yeah.
So I will not be reading that. So I've got to decide when I get done with that, do I go ahead and read volume 4 or do I go back and read volumes 1, 2, and 3 again? So, and then I'll be reading I just finished Burrows and Borderlands, the rules for the 3rd time. And I'm going to go back and read those rules again. Of course, now Bloodworth wants me to play his OSC game, and I've never read the OSC rules. So,
yeah, I'm in his Dragon Slayer game, and he keeps asking me to sign up for his Castles and Crusade game in September, and I'm like, September?
I don't think that
I
far
could
ahead.
be dead in September. I have no idea what's going to happen, that far ahead in the world. We're in a game right now. Let's focus on that, shall we?
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, I have no desire to do anything but play the character I'm playing. That I got him to let us start. We started out at like 3rd or 4th level, depending on he gave us some XP. in the hopes that we could, get to a higher level when we finish the game. But I was under the impression we were going to be playing for like a year, so getting be starting out at third level would be no big deal, or fourth level. He's getting ready to call the game, shut the game down. Nobody's gone up a level yet. I'm like, no, we all wanted to play like a year campaign, not 6 months, and then start up a new campaign. I mean, that's no,
Well,
that's not.
yeah, how many hours of gameplay? I mean, hours of gameplay, and I mean, it's like measuring hours of gameplay is like measuring hours of service on an airplane, right?
Uh,
You don't measure the miles; you measure the hours that the engine's on.
yep.
Okay, so how many hours of gameplay does it take before your character actually starts to develop its own personality and does what it wants to do, not what you want it to do? That's most people never get to that point because we can't get any games that last that long.
Yeah. I'm a little better at that maybe because I'm always playing an elven thief, so it just seems like I'm playing the same character again and again and again
Right.
because I never get to finish playing the other character. You want me to make up a new character? Well, I'll just make up another exact clone of the character that didn't die, but I didn't want to retire because that's what I wanted to play. I want to play that character to do something besides go on like one adventure and then it's time to roll up a new character because
I
reasons. And I'm
gotta
like,
go.
all right, Bo, take care.
All right.
uh, so I'm looking for uh, more committed players and campaigns, people that like a perfect example. My Sunday game tomorrow with Cal Vanoni, Armstrong from Mad Eye Miniatures, um, Off Grid, and Omanal. We've been playing that game for over 2.5 years now, and I figure we're probably going to call it. Uh, no, James, we're probably going to wrap it up at the 3 year mark, just because we're having a harder and harder time getting people together. We used to have a group. The group started out with almost 8 or 9 players, and some people left, some people came back, some people left. And we're down to 4. Not bad, it's standard, role playing game group. But I figure, maybe at the 3 year mark, depending on what's happening, it'll be time to retire them and maybe play something else on Sunday. I know at least 1 or 2 players are going to be like, no, let's keep going. Let's go for year 4. And I'm like, that's kind of the characters are already cruising up close to like 15th level, 13 to 15 for some, 8th on another one, but he's a barbarian, so if he was anything else, he'd probably be much higher level. And we've been able to hold it together for 2.5, almost 3 years, and that's I don't know about you, George. Do you have like a preferred length of time for a campaign?
Oh gosh, I don't. To be honest, I haven't played in too many campaigns since I was like a kid. There's a part of me that likes to like. I don't. I get tired. I wouldn't say tired of a character, but I get curious. I'm like, oh, maybe what would it be like to play a bard or something like that, and then
To
want to
take care
play
of
a
squirrel.
bard, and then. But like right now, I'm playing an old school Central game with some people in real life. Like we go to the GM's house and we play, and that one's cool because we also have like backup characters and retainers and things, so you can
Hmm.
kind of and when we go into some place, he'll say, who's going to be your main for this one, and then you can like apply
Hmm.
more XP to that character if you want and things like that. So like
Okay.
it's a little bit,
Okay.
yeah. So and the thing is, it's so hard. That one's been going on for 2 years, nearly
Okay.
about
Is that what system? OSC?
yeah, OSC, old school
Okay. Okay.
essentials. It's like a homebrew, but he takes like modules. We're doing one and puts them into different hexes, like we're doing Stonehell. So no spoilers for Stonehell, please. See the chat like just erupt. So yeah, we're doing Stonehell and a few other little things. We had some cool. And then when we get tired of Stonehell, we'll like go back to town, and then he'll like find another module. Like we did this weird one, the the island of the Eld or something like that, where we kind of like ended up transported to another plane, I guess, where these
Hmm.
elf-like creatures called the Eld were, and it was a pretty like Gonzo kind of fantasy campaign. That was kind of fun. We got some weird items. Kind of would be OP if we brought them back. So a lot of them
Oh,
had charges. So like we had like a tube of engooment, like it would just shoot goo at somebody and like
okay.
trap them.
Hold on a second.
So yeah, and so it was kind of fun
Sorry
because
about
like
that.
we got some cool stuff, but it's not going to break the game because we have only so many charges left on the item. So now we're like back at Stonehell, and so that was kind of fun. I think it depends. Like
Okay.
I think
I thought
with
we were
this
playing.
game,
I thought we
there's enough variety that we don't get tired.
gotcha. I thought we were supposed to go into Stonehell, or maybe it was one of the other big ones that's like lots of undead. I forget the name of it, but
Garden Hole.
I even it bums me out because I kind of went into Dragon Slayer kind of not kicking and screaming, but reluctantly. It's like, couldn't we just finish the campaign we were in? And um, a lot of DMs, especially like professional DMs that have channels and have access to so many new games, get that syndrome where it's like, oh, the next new shiny, I call it. Let's play
Hmm.
this because it's new and we never played it before, and everybody's talking about it, and I'm like, I don't care. I'm kind of invested in the game we've been playing for 6 months, 3 months, whatever.
Yeah.
Let's. You said the same thing about that game. It's like, hey, this game is new and shiny, and now it's not.
Who do you watch? Anything good? I've been watching like a lot of different like actual plays lately.
Uh huh.
So like I've been watching 3D6 Down the Line, and they're very cool. Like they're
Okay.
not like a bunch of wokies kind of blue hairs, just a bunch of dudes.
Right.
I think he really takes it seriously as thing because it's like I think like they're like there's no cursing, a lot of opportunities for like a body joke they don't do. So like I think he's got a lot of
Hmm.
some control over his
Yeah, I
players to like
never
not.
actually watched live plays. Uh,
Mhm,
up until a couple weeks ago, I was in like almost a game every night, and now I'm not, and that's kind of actually kind of cool because I have a little
mhm,
bit more time to write and read, which is something I need to do more of. I've got
yeah.
I buy more books every month than I finish, and I need to kind of turn that around.
Mhm,
I mean, I could literally make a stack, floor to ceiling, of books I bought last year that I have not read all the way
yeah.
through. Even if it was an old book that I had read already, I still bought it to read again because I couldn't find my original copy, or I sold it, or I gave it away, or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to read Ursharak. I got about
Mhm,
halfway through it. I love that book,
yeah.
but I didn't finish it.
Yeah.
I've got a bunch of omnibuses, big ass thick comic book stacks. Didn't finish any of those
Yeah. Well, maybe bring back the reading
games.
club, the Appendix N reading club we used
Yeah, I
to do
was
every
thinking about that,
Thursday
but
or Friday.
uh, we got to get people who are going to do it, and
Yeah.
show up. Right, right. You want to read a book with me? Yeah, you don't like books. You don't like anything that takes the attention away from you. You're like a cat. You know that? You're like a big baby girl cat. Yes, yes, you are. Yes.
So one of the
Oh,
things I noticed with like some of these actual plays, there's some good ones. I think they'd be great for GMs because like if I now watch like so I've been watching a few, there are a couple of them. One's a there was one, I forget the name of the podcast, but they were doing Rogue Trader, and so like a
okay.
lot of it's spoiled for me. Like now I
Was
can't
it
really
was it
run.
Saxius's channel?
No, but I didn't. So I should see if I should check it out. It's because I forget the name of the guy. It wasn't Saxius. It wasn't anybody that kind of from the people I've been watching. I just kind of wanted to check out I remember watching one years ago that was really fun, and then typed it in again, and there was another group playing it that was pretty good. But the 3D Sucks Online were fun because they were like he takes it seriously. He's got like a good setup for the game. Like he's got got the little images on the of the people on the side. He has a map and things like that on display. And he was doing and he was doing some games that I like that I'm interested in. Like I'm interested in. He was doing the one of doing Ardenvul, which I kind of started, but I realized I might play an Ardenvul game, so I stopped listening to that one.
Gotcha. Yeah.
The other and they're like 100. Like he's got 100 streams for that, over
Wow.
100 streams for Ardenvul. So you were saying like sometimes like they see the shiny thing and go off. I guess they stayed on Ardenvul for a really long time. And
That's the way it should be. I mean,
yeah,
uh, if you're, especially if you've got like a regular group, like
mhm,
it's like why I have not even brought up to my Sunday group about playing anything else, because there's other nights of the week, and we could, some of us, if they were interested in playing another game, we could pick another night and play another game. That's
mhm,
but
yeah,
if there are a lot of people like back in the day when I first started playing, not first started, but after a certain amount of time, if I brought another game to the table, the actual physical table, the players would tell me to get that thing off the freaking table. We're not playing anything but this. We
yeah,
don't care. We don't care what game you just bought. We're playing this, and we're going to play this until the cows come home. So you just take that riff book or whatever it was, uh, and just don't try to tempt us. We don't care. We don't care how good it is. We're here. Okay,
yeah.
cool, fair, totally
I'm tr-
valid opinion, and good on them for
yeah,
keeping that game alive. Obviously there can come a point where you're just like, okay, another adventure. You guys have been on, 47 adventures. You've taken all the adventures out of the world and left nothing for anybody else. There are no other adventures in the world because you guys have cleared the map. Um, you know, and
yeah,
that gets kind of, hard to suspend your disbelief that there wouldn't be other adventurers and other people having adventures uh, of their own. But no,
yeah,
you cleared every dungeon on the map, every conceivable, and I mean not just like the continent, but gone to other continents and went everywhere. You did all the adventuring, all the heroics. The Mount Rushmore will be you guys on every continent. There'll be statues of just you, nobody else, because nobody else did anything. Um, kind of
yeah,
overdoing it.
yeah.
There comes a
For
point where it's like, hey, it's time to retire. You guys, you know, I
yeah,
need like a 6 month break and like 100 years to pass so that I can repopulate the whole world with new dungeons and monsters and bad guys because everybody's now lawful good and they all worship you. You win.
yeah.
Hey,
One thing
James.
for our Saturday game, I wish we just had like one more person, just so that like we I don't have to cancel if like one person's out. It's kind of like one person can't make it, we can't we have to cancel. And so
That is a thing. Hey, what's up,
yeah,
TM James?
or we could have one more person if the oh hey James, the if we had one more
How
person.
you guys doing?
Good. We're,
I
we're
just
talking about
finished our Hyperborea game. The construction workers retired a little early, so they're out on the back porch plotting. And the
Okay.
one thing I asked you about happened, which means the character that was affected is really upset.
Uh huh.
So you
Uh
know
huh.
the thing I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, 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 totally. And to be fair, you know,
He felt the same.
they they have a right to feel things, and they have a right to feel things and not tell you that they feel those things. You know what I mean?
Well, he feels those things, and plus now his wife is looking at him like he's even more of a piece of slime because she already
Uh
don't like him.
huh. Uh huh.
But now that he's impotent, she really don't like him.
Uh huh. Well,
Because that's what happens at my table. Characters curse each other into impotence.
yeah, I can't wait to I can't wait to have you in my Amber game or Shadows, Lords of Gossamer and Shadows, because like I don't have a problem with people, kind of doing the PvP or not getting along perfectly. Provided nobody quits the game because of it, or nobody throws a punch, or
Shadow,
anything.
in 40 years, I've never even imagined this. 40 plus years of playing role playing games, never even imagined that this could be something that somebody would even do.
Well,
And it's all based on racism, which makes it even more crazy.
you got to remember, James. We all, as
James
players,
Bell,
have
Blood
evolved
Angels
from our
are the best. Sorry, I had to he mentioned Blood Angels, so I had to say something about that.
I just picked up that Blood Angels book because it was at a book. It was not even at a bookstore. It was at like a retail outlet store in a place it should not have existed. Like absolutely no reason why these Middle Eastern guys who had a store full of stuff that fell off trucks should have a copy of the Blood Angels Codex in perfect condition for like $2.99. And copyright 2025 should have this book just standing up next to the four other books in the entire store. Like it's a sign from the gods or the god that I need to buy this book. Why? I don't know. I'm never going to play it, but it's a $50 book for $2. Yeah, I'm going to grab it. Um,
Well, if you're talking about one of the codexes,
yeah.
they're full of cool little stories and lore stuff. And yes,
Okay.
either Isaac Hayes, Luther Vandross, or Barry White should fix
I
that.
was going to say, got to go with Barry White. Just saying.
But actually, the spell only lasts
We're
for
Al
two and a half
Green. Al
hours.
Green. Al Green is
Al Green.
a number four. Uh, let's stay together. I was just going through
Yeah,
my
I was
CD
just thinking that as soon as you said that, I was thinking, let's just stay together.
because
Yeah.
it's like my
But
favorite song
anyway,
in
the duration's
Pulp
only two and a
Fiction.
half hours.
The
But
Pulp Fiction
the guy being
soundtrack is.
affected by it don't know. You
Well,
know what I'm
see, I was
saying?
wondering, if she hated him, and now he can't have relations. Maybe she might not hate him so much because you would think that if you hate a dude, but yet he's still doing the thing with you, you would
Because
hate him
he
like
broke
oh
her curse. She was cursed to look like a withered up old walnut of a woman with no teeth and everything, like
right.
100 years old. He broke the freaking curse because that's what you do with Russian mythology. And now she's a tall, beautiful woman. But she has to be loyal to him and be a good wife.
Mhm.
Except the other Hyperborean in the group is personally insulted that, as he calls it, a subhuman would dare lay his hands on a Hyperborean woman.
That dude needs to
So
mind his own damn business. Just saying, you know.
I get what you're saying, but go ahead and crack open your player's handbook and read Hyperborean a couple times and then get it through your head. They're Elric
Yeah,
of Melniboné. They're tall albinos with purple eyes, and they hate everybody. Well, it's
yeah.
not so much hate as they think everyone else is inferior. And for the most part, they're right.
Then why are they even hanging out?
Because he's cleric and they needed a cleric.
If the players were going to run with that kind of just absolute adherence to the racial animosities, it'd be like there's no reason you guys should even be associating with one another at this point. I'm done. Let's start a new game where you all have a reason to be there and back each other up, because this is just going to devolve into certain people. Whoops! I failed my casting role or something.
No,
Or
no one would do that.
well, you
No,
know what I mean.
they don't do that. Like in
But
the
then
middle
why?
of a battle, the Hyperborean cleric is the first one to jump in and cast his heal moderate wound on anybody.
Why? Why?
Because he's a cleric and that's what he does. That's his job. That's why they pay him.
But how do you I hate everybody who's not me, but I'll heal you guys because
Yeah, I need to amend that. It's not so much hatred as just looked down upon. Think
dude,
not as good.
I don't hang out with anybody I feel that way about. And the last thing I'm going to do is run through heaven and earth to cure light wounds a guy who probably
I've
deserved it.
I've been in actual combat with peoples I didn't like really care for, but you do it anyway because
Well, yeah,
that's what you
that's a
do.
totally different thing. I mean, if they were charged with a duty or a job or a quest or something, okay, cool. I gotta in order to fulfill the mission, I gotta heal your dumbass whenever your dumbass needs it. Cool, totally viable. But if they're like God, I can't stand you. How dare you? You filthy subhuman.
It's more
Touch.
complicated than that, Shadow. The Hyperborean cleric kind of likes the Thor worshipping berserker, who is a Dane.
Mhm,
So even though he doesn't think the Vikings are equal to Hyperboreans, he's kind of got a soft spot for them,
mhm.
mainly because she can kill everything and he likes that. But he's not a huge fan of the Atlantean, just as a matter of course. There's a Picton, or not Pict, there's a Celt in the group. Guess who the Celt don't like? The Norsemen.
I was going to say
Why?
himself.
Because the Norse burnt down the capital city of the Celtic kingdom like 6 months ago. So
Yeah, I
basically,
mean,
no one really likes anyone, but you adventure because you find the most capable people you can to fill the roles you need filled, and you go out and
no,
you do stuff to get money.
no,
Now, the
I
Greek,
don't.
everyone
It,
likes the Greek. If that makes you feel better, the Los
well,
Dos
that's just it. I mean,
Costumos, everyone
that
likes them.
that was like okay, let's just go with the classic, right? Lord of the Rings. You got a whole bunch of people, at the very least two,
Legolas hated Gimli and vice versa in the beginning.
right? And if that, imagine how that would have turned out if that didn't take a drastic change. You know what I mean in the story. If Tolkien had written it
Well, the
to where
time may come where someone saves the cleric's life and he becomes a better person. And maybe his heart grows 3 sizes bigger. But
well,
right now,
maybe
he's just an
maybe
ass.
as a maybe as a GM, that might be something you might want to, try to foster or, not necessarily make happen, but, have
Well, yeah, I
opportunities.
don't railroad it all.
No, but I mean, if the opportunity arises, you're like, well, hey, he did just save your life. Not saying that you make the situation happen, but when someone does do something, that they were going to do anyways because that was their action, blah blah blah. You might want to remind them, it's like, hey, he just saved your life again,
Okay,
or
Shadow.
you know what I
Let
mean?
me let me put it this way because I'm not explaining it correctly. He gets along with the rest of the group, even though he thinks they're all a bunch of primates.
Uh-huh.
But he gets along with them. But he is personally offended that a non-Hyperborean person is putting their hands on a Hyperborean lady.
Hmm.
Do you get that? He can work with these guys. He gets along with some of
The
them,
the question, and
but
I'll
he
ask.
cannot stand that. And you know what? She can't stand it either, but the curse makes it where she has to do it.
Well, then you're going to end up with yourself a sort of King Arthur, Lancelot situation where someone's going to do something that's going to warrant getting their head chopped off, if not both of them, by
You know what
the.
I think's going to happen actually?
Hmm.
The berserker's going to berserk in the middle of a battle, kill the monsters before her berserk ends, fail her willpower check, and probably kill the rest of the group. It's only a matter of time. Because
Cool.
when she berserks, it's just like, so she's like walking around with like dynamite in your pants that you never know when it's going to go off, but at some point it is going to go off.
So basically,
So far,
most of us
she's
on a
made her
Friday night
saves.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. So far, she's made her saves every time to not go like completely buck wild.
Okay,
But you and I both know
it's just a matter of
eventually
when. It's not a matter
it's
of if.
just
It's a
a
matter of
matter
when.
of when. And with her attack bonuses, when she's in a full berserk, she could one shot the mage. I mean, even though he's level 4, let's be honest. I mean, 4 times die 4 with no con bonus, and she's swinging at like +9 with +8 damage. It's like, yeah, you're dead.
Mhm.
So
What do you
so
want?
this game will probably explode. And you know what we'll do? We'll make new characters. And it'll probably explode again. Because that is the nature of playing a game based on Lovecraft, Clark Ashton Smith, and R.E. Howard. Eventually everything just goes to shit. But I'll tell you what, we're having a blast. Like the guys when we ended the game, they were like, "Oh my god, that was fun!" Blah blah blah. The scout, as usual, almost got killed by a bunch of sturges. He had like 5 of them hanging off of him. He's just running in circles.
When are you going to make your top 10 wandering monsters video, man?
Oh shit, is that a thing we're doing?
I just did it last week, man. Top 10 favorite wandering monsters. Bubba, me. Did somebody else do it? Uh, uh,
I'll
Obviously,
get on
Owen.
that tomorrow or the next day.
It's a fun one. You know, I thought I was done with the top tens, and then I'm like, I was going to make a video on wandering monsters, a completely different video, but I
Rust
got pressed
monster.
for time, and I'm like, I don't have time to script this, you know,
Trust monster, that's an asshole move right there. It's like, oh, you like that plate mail, don't you? Now you ain't got it.
you know what? I have never used a rust monster. I've only used the owlbear one time, and that was for Jackie's benefit. There's some trophy monsters that I never use, uh, and some that I use like a lot. As you can see, if you watch my video, I'd rather you make your list before you watch the video. That way,
I'm
you're
gonna
not
make my
like,
list so that you don't influence me more than you generally do. Now,
okay,
the group did get in a fight with a wraith today, and the scout got
I
hit
love
and
those
lost
things, but they're
more than half of his
not
con.
wandering.
No, it wasn't wandering, but the wraith hit him and took 8 con points off of him, which made him have like under like basically he lost the bonus hit points he might have had for having the
Mhm.
con, and then also had negative hit points.
So they don't
So
do
he
the
was
level
like,
drain in
yes,
hyperboard.
James L, my Australian friend, I actually do like space skiing. You take the, what is it they call it, the globules from somebody and put the globules in and they become servants of space skiing, and you throw all the women
I've
into
never
a
heard of this.
volcano.
I need a link. Someone send me a link because I
Oh
have no
my
idea what you're
god,
talking about.
I forget the name of the studio that makes this cartoon, but they basically made a cartoon that is 100% just a mockery of space marines, and it's called Space King.
It's not
And they just,
Flash Gets, is it?
it's like that, yeah. And like they just
Okay.
run around doing shit. Like they invade a
Okay.
planet, they take all of the young boys, and they throw all of the girls in a volcano. And then the young boys, they remove their globules, which is their testicles, and they
Right.
implant the Space King's globules into the young boys, which makes them immediately turn into like 8 foot tall, muscled up, genetically, what do they call that when you're past being a human?
Yeah, that was so long ago. I barely remember it. George is just sitting there
Post-human
like globules.
things,
What? Right?
right? Ghouls are awesome wandering
Mhm.
monsters. Ogres are good. Trolls are good.
Thanks.
Oh, so
Thanks,
James
James.
L sent you the thing.
I will check it
And
out.
there's like 2 seasons of it now, and it's just
Cool.
like it's nuts. They they
I
got
saw what you did
cleric,
there.
and the one guy's got like a mace that he talks to, and the mace talks back
Okay.
because I don't know why.
Why not?
I'm leaving. I'm out of here. But I just wanted to drop in and see you guys' face.
All right. Well,
Nice.
thank you for the thing.
Nice
I look
coming.
forward to your video. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, now I got something to do. Well, I mean, it's late. I'm probably going to watch TV. I'm thinking I'll watch oh, what is it? What's it? Shadow. Do you read Sutter Kane?
Never even heard of it.
Really? He wrote In the Mouth of Madness. It's a movie. You don't remember the movie In the Mouth of Madness where the insurance guy has to find out where the author went, Sutter Kane, which is basically
Right
Stephen
on.
King. And he travels to a town that doesn't exist called Hobbs End.
Uh-huh.
And it turns out that everything Sutter Kane is writing is being influenced by the great old ones and coming true. So in the
No.
end, the insurance guy is like locked up in a mental hospital. And it's the guy that plays the insurance guy is the same guy that played the doctor in
Doctor
Event
Who,
Horizon. You remember the guy who created the ship and then tore his own eyes out and like freaked out and everything?
Uh-huh.
Lawrence
That's that
Fishburne,
same actor. I forget his name, but he's in a ton of shit.
Ed O'Neill, not Ed O'Neill. Sam Neill.
Sam
Might
Nels.
be.
He's like the
Might be.
Australian. Yeah, he played like
I
in
don't.
the Omen movies, like the Omen 3.
Yeah. I think it could be. But basically, it's a what's his name, Crichton movie, I think, or is
Michael
it
Crichton.
Carpenter? Yeah, there's a three movies. There's Mouth of Madness. There's the one with the tubes full of the green evil underneath the church, and then the thing.
Artifact or Relic.
So that's the what was it called?
I thought it
So
was Relic.
No,
might
not
be Relic.
Relic. There's this church and it's got these tubes, and it turns out the tubes are like gaseous evil, like incarnate.
Yeah, I could
That
swear
was
that's the movie.
yeah, it was like and like
Lord of
it had some it like had something to do with like Jesus kind of found it or something, and he was stopping
right,
the aliens. Yeah,
and
is
it
that what's
had
his
a
name?
lot of the people from Big Trouble in Little China in it. Like
Yeah,
Egg was in it. Um, Sam Neill's best role was Riley, Ace of Spies, but that's hard to track down. I never heard of it. Yeah, but it's Sam Neill.
Okay.
James L's on top of it. But yeah, he put out the trilogy, and it was The Thing, The Mouth of Madness, and then like Lord of Evil or something like that.
yeah, Lord of
Um,
Darkness or something. Something
yeah, something
Darkness.
like that. And it's like,
That's another
so
one I
you're
got to
basically
catch up
dealing with evil, except evil is like an actual like physics thing that messes with the universe. And,
on.
you know, if you're not into scary movies, you wouldn't watch it. But I personally watch it about
I
once
can
a
watch a
month.
scary movie. One of my favorite movies of all time is Alien. So and Jaws. Jaws kept me out of
You know,
the.
one of my favorite movies of all time is Hellraiser.
Yeah, I never got into those movies. I don't know why.
I don't know. I just think that the Hell Priest is like so cool.
Yeah.
Pinhead. I mean, the
Ex-
dude who invented that shit is just like creative.
Exorcist was like probably like the scariest thing when I was growing up. That was always a really scary one.
Mm-hmm.
And then I read the books
Well,
just to find out why a Greek guy was a Catholic priest. Didn't explain.
I remember when I was a little kid being afraid of Evil Dead. And now, as an adult, I watch that shit and laugh.
Yeah,
Right.
And it's not that I
Uh,
got desensitized. It's like now that I'm an adult, I get the jokes. I'm like, oh, they didn't mean this shit seriously. This shit is funny.
yeah.
Watching like Bruce Campbell sit in a room and scream while like the taxidermized animals are all laughing at him and shit. That's funny. And then
It's a
they
good movie.
lean way into it in Army of Darkness, man. It's just like Exorcist still scares me though. I don't like that one.
Yeah,
that
I've been
yeah
That
that
actually
one,
watching. I've been watching a lot of real life exorcists on YouTube. Talk about the real deal. That
well, Janet was on my channel the other night and she was talking about how she does a show every now and then about supernatural shit. And I kind of mentioned to her about just go on YouTube and type in Appalachian, and you'll find
You
like
know,
1,000 videos about all the most horrible shit in Eastern Kentucky. I
do you know
mean,
who?
like some wild stuff.
Do you know who that woman is? I think her name is Tuesday Adams, and she does videos on how they talk, where you come from. Just absolutely freaking. You got to check it out.
I
Uh,
I
so
think I do know who you're talking about. She's an older lady with two daughters.
I don't know if she's
And she
older.
talks about words that we use that don't get used anywhere else, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
gommed,
yeah. Really
and
big,
spigoglin.
hazel eyes and really curly hair.
Yeah, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
That just she just started coming
Spigoglin,
up.
airish, gommed. Uh,
Twart.
we have a lot of words that the civilized world does not use.
Yeah, I was watching
Node.
a really cool documentary about folk magic and folk traditions, but like the ones that where they think like, oh, you got hexed or whatever, you got, I forget the terms they used,
Sure.
but there were all sorts of like things, and like it was very interesting. Like a lot of it comes from Germany. I guess a lot of the Germans, when they came over, they kind of brought some of these things with them, and they had like just things that were kind of a little weird to me, and it was always just like it kind of had this like semi-sympathetic kind of like almost like the whole like if you take from one thing, if you get one thing, it comes from somewhere else. So like if your cow was dry, wasn't making milk, they would milk a rag or something. Like it would like literally produce milk by milking a rag, and then they wring it out and they have milk. Like that was like at least that's what they were saying was happening. Obviously, it was, and there was,
As
but it would
an
come from somebody else.
as
Like
an
it like
adult, I realize that I call that Kentucky voodoo or
yeah,
hillbilly voodoo
yeah.
because they got all kinds of weird ass shit. Like when you go into the woods, you're supposed to carry like an iron nail or stitch an iron nail into your coat.
hmm And there
And
was like,
when you go to bed at night, you always pull the curtains. I mean, you
mhm,
can leave the window open, but you pull the curtains because apparently, according to them, witches will look in on you when you're asleep and you can't protect yourself and they'll curse you.
yeah,
And we all know
Everybody
that the
knows. Everybody knows
Appalachian is
anything.
just full of witches.
Anything that remotely resembles covers will protect you from monsters.
oh yeah.
When you're a little kid, right? Just pull
If
them over your
your
head
feet
and be
dangle
like,
over the edge of your bed, forget it. They're gonna like they got
Uh-huh.
something to grab on.
and if you're walking through the woods at night and you hear a baby laughing or crying, you keep walking
hmm
Well, I do
because
that
there's
in my own
something in
house.
the woods trying to
You know,
lure
when
you
Jackie was
to it.
crying, it's like, up, your job. I'm kidding, of course.
Yeah, what's the
If
other thing
you're
was like a
walking through the woods and you hear someone call your name, ignore it and keep walking.
yeah. There was like one thing
That
it was like
that
There's
is a
like a lot of
great.
rules.
To me, that sounds like a great way to miss out on a hell of a story. Someone calls your name in the middle of the woods. I'm like, what? What do you want, bitch? Show yourself.
See, this is how you get ate by a dog man or a hairy man or God only knows.
I, 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 I I got to go out of this world somehow. I don't want it to be in a hospital bed, just laying there. You know,
But you say
let's
missing out on a story, but there'll be no story because they'll never find you.
yeah, but the stories people will tell. Yeah, remember that guy Shadow? Whatever happened to him? I don't know, man. He said he was going camping. Never heard from him
He went
again.
walking through the Daniel Boone National Forest and they never saw him again.
Sasquatch guy.
Yeah, he just faked his death again, and you know, start up
Yeah,
another
yeah,
family a couple
because,
years later.
There hasn't really
What's
been
up,
any.
Angela
yeah,
King?
somebody wants to know what you are painting tonight.
All kinds of little bits and bobs. I was working on giants. This guy, he's apparently bowling. Uh,
Well, that's really cool.
I'll
And it
post
looks like a
some
little,
more
is
pictures
that
of these.
halfling?
It's just a. I don't know. It could be a halfling if you want it to be. I think it's
The
normal
beholder.
size. It's just like I found this like online. It's just like a. I kind of printed them as like kind of like you need like a figure to use in a just like as a enemy or something. He's basic. So I'm going the wrong way.
I'll show them off
I've-
tomorrow, but I painted 4 carnivorous apes and 5 gorillons or whatever they're called, the 4-armed giant flesh-eating apes.
Gorillas or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
ogrelons or so.
John Carter ripoffs. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, of course, but in the game I play, apes and ape-like monsters and very subhuman type monsters are super common, like the Vendo from
I was
13th Warrior.
when I was
That's a
reading
thing.
through the Robert E. Howard Gnome Press, canon books of his. It occurred to me that Conan and Tarzan fought more apes than like anything else other than men, of course. If you go through how
Yeah,
many different times, you know,
yeah. I mean, fought a lot of apes. Yeah. Well, today my characters went to the Mages Guild and met the librarian, whose name is Howard Lovecraft, and his job is keeping the library in the city of Zimbala organized.
yeah, but see, if I do that, James L., then I won't have a string of sausages to eat, which I have never seen in my life. I always remember the old days, the cartoons of the string of sausage hanging from the window, and the dog would run in and grab them and run out. Like, I want to buy sausages like that. I want to buy a string of sausages. That sounds
That's
like, something novel that
Shadow,
we missed out
you're
on.
just showing that you grew up a city boy.
I can't help that.
When
That's
you
not,
make
that,
homemade sausage, you buy the casing, and sometimes it's natural casing, right? And you grind the sausage maker. And when it gets to a point, you spin it, you twist
uh-huh,
it, and
uh-huh.
then when you
Make another
do
one.
the next one and you twist it, and you end up with
Oh yeah,
a
I
string of
figured all
sausage.
that part out. That's easy. Just we don't have delis out here. We don't have butchers out here. And I
Well,
don't live
no,
in a
we
big
made our
city.
own sausage, so you know.
Would love to have had that experience as well, just so I could then
Yeah,
eat them. Because I'm not above working for a meal. You know.
yeah, we make venison sausage, but you got to do it like 2 parts venison, 1 part pork fat. Otherwise, it won't make sausage. It'll just make a crumbly mess
Uh,
because there's not enough fat in venison to
mhm,
stick it together. And then if you want to get really away, you can throw some jalapenos in the mix
uh-huh.
and make like a spicy venison sausage. Pretty good.
Yeah, I would absolutely love to be able to buy stuff like that. We don't, like I said, we don't have a butcher anywhere near. We've got one butcher, and it's in an area that we never go. So going
Well,
out
when I
there, I
moved
would,
to Kentucky, if you
yeah,
ever come near Kentucky, call me.
I
Because
will do
right
that.
now, up in Kentucky, I have a stand up freezer full of venison,
Never had venison.
right? Because deer up there are huge. Like down here, by the time you dress a deer out, it weighs like 30 pounds. They're about the size of a big German Shepherd. But in Kentucky, you can dress them out and get 100+ pounds of meat. And you can get a couple a season legally. And then whatever you get besides that, that's between you and God. And you just, butcher them up, wrap them up in butcher paper, and throw them in the freezer, man. It's all good. I just don't eat anything with thumbs. That's a rule. So no possums, no raccoons, no monkeys, no apes. I ain't eating none of that. No people.
No chilled monkey
But
brain, huh?
no, none of that shit. There is a
well, is
story,
that fun?
Shadow, that in Harlan County, there's a town called Bethel, Kentucky, and the town was settled in the 1800s by a group of Satanists who moved from Pennsylvania. And the town is still there, and their church is still there, and they are all a bunch of devil worshippers, the whole lot, down in the holler there. But,
I would stay the hell away from that.
yeah, but you know what the nickname of Harlan County is?
No,
Bloody Harlan County. And there's a song called If I Ever Get Out of Harlan County Alive. Uh, I mean,
no, I
but
don't.
there
But
is
I can
one thing
imagine.
Harlan County can be proud of. Those boys can strip all the copper out of your house in no time flat.
Yeah, well, don't tell them where I live because I just had all copper pipes put in, and I'd like to enjoy that for a good long time.
It's like Pikeville and Pike County's the same way. If you leave your house for more than 2 hours, when you come back, you won't have a bit of copper anywhere in it. Because the freaking meth heads, they just go around stealing copper and then sell it, which in a way makes them like modern day adventurers. They're just raiding places and stealing the precious metals.
Yeah, no, I would not. I would not elevate
And
them
then
to that.
there's they're trading the precious metals off to the banker or whatever, and then they're using the gold, the monetary stuff they earn to go buy magic potions so that they can be ready to go get more adventuring done.
Yeah,
I
no.
remember what I think we were doing like incandescent grottos or something, and we were like, maybe if we just like mine all these little like minor gems that are really cheap, but like if we just spend some
That's
time here
pretty good.
mining them all.
Right. 36 eggs for less than $5 US.
I think
Don't
that's what
eat
we paid this
talking
morning.
cow or a
Yeah,
hover
18,
pig.
18, 20, 36. Might have been $6. Yeah,
Um,
I've never encountered a talking cow or a hover pig.
we
I don't even know what a hover pig
we are
is.
currently getting about 2 dozen eggs from 7 chickens a week.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the
Nice.
way to do it if you can. Set up a coop, grab you some, a big old bag of the cheap cracked corn. You can get it, not
Yeah,
expensive at all. Go out
get
there
them
and throw
scrapped
it
from
at
the
them.
house.
Yeah,
My
they'll, then,
my mother-in-law was throwing out like a little bit of rice from her plate. I'm like, no, I gotta get the chickens. They love that. They'll kill each other for that.
yeah. But
Huh.
growing up, we had a big coop, and that's why I always, as poor as we were never like hurting for protein because we always had just a ton of eggs and so we would eat for breakfast biscuits and eggs and liquid biscuits, which they like to call country gravy, but let's be honest, it's just a liquid biscuit because
I
it's
thought it
made from
was.
the same
I thought it
thing.
was like bacon grease or sausage grease and
It's
flour.
whatever grease you got, so lard will work,
Uh,
and flour, and you make a roux and you add some milk to it, and then there you go.
yeah.
Salt and pepper. It's not clown show, sir. We do salt and pepper. You know how people talk about all the spices? And it's like, this is not a clown show. We do salt and pepper here. And then,
Yeah.
of course, dinner and lunch was pinto beans and cornbread, which I still love to this day. See, James, though, you would be surprised if here, or maybe not, that Orange County, Florida, not the one on the left coast,
Yeah. Where I used to live.
recently, yeah, recently made it legal for people within like Orange County and Orlando city limits to own a hen coop, but they're not allowed to own roosters,
Yeah,
but you
I
can
learned
own
that.
hens. So, like my buddy Miguel, I used to work with at the fire department, he built a really fancy coop in his backyard
I
and
don't
he
have any
put like,
popcorn.
8 hens in there. And being a good Greek boy, loads of lamb.
What? I think I need to let the dog out to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back, gents.
All right. Yeah, that one of the
Okay.
tough things is like it's always like a crapshoot with chickens. You might get a rooster if you get some chicks or something. Even like there's some breeds that I think that they can kind of tell like when they're born, but there's always a chance.
Mm, yeah.
We
I
got
mean, I know that hens will just lay eggs just cause.
yeah, they don't
It's
even need a
like,
rooster around or anything.
yeah, they'll just do it. And the better you feed them, the more they'll lay, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. There's like a whole thing like they don't
if
really
you
lay too
got
much in the winter,
land,
but
go ahead.
they don't really lay too much in the winter. But some of the young ones will like
Right.
lay right through winter.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the reason, James L, is that the rooster crowing first thing in the morning in the middle of Orlando would be an issue.
yeah,
But hens, they're not really that loud. So,
yeah,
and if you got a good coop for them, and they also tend to, when it starts getting dark, they'll go to the coop. Like we let ours run around because I lived on a ranch on the side of a hill, so like a big farm. And every night, the hens would just come back to the house and go back in their little thing, and I'd shut the door. I mean, occasionally I had to stay out and snipe a weasel or a fox, but you know, especially weasels. If a weasel kills a chicken, you have to kill that weasel because they are so single-minded. They will not stop until every chicken is dead.
Yeah.
You can't scare them off. They don't even know. I mean, I don't know what it is with them little bastards, and I love them. As an animal, I love the Mastildae, ferrets, weasels, all of them. But man, wait till you get in a fight with one of those bastards, 4 o'clock in the morning. Not so fun.
Yeah, they're like tricky creatures, really tricky, smart. They're
Yeah,
kind of
that's the
small, so
problem
they
with
have
them
to.
right there.
Yeah, we were talking about you were talking about possums before. I remember we used to have lots of them in Jersey, and I remember growing up, it's like, oh, they're self defenses. They play dead, and I'm like, that's the stupidest thing to self defense I've ever heard of. And I remember once I found one in my garbage, in my like recycling, and I go outside, I go to throw something away into recycling, and there's this possum in there. I freak out, kick the can over, and then I can see it like on the floor, dead on the porch. I'm like, ugh, it's grossed out. I just went inside, and then I'm like, I got to clean up that dead possum on the porch. I come back, it's gone. I'm like, oh my god, it pretended to be dead and got away. Oh, what's going on?
Oh, there was an Australian scary movie a long time ago, James O, about like this really big giant boar that was running around eating people. So like think Cujo, but it was like a giant pig. Of course, the problem is the pig that was in that movie that they called a giant pig. Some dude in Arkansas, I think, shot one that was bigger than that, like in real life.
Hogzilla.
They called it Pigzilla. It was a 900-pound pig, which is like, yeah, okay. And the ones you got watch in Kentucky are the feral pigs. So like they're not the wild boars. They're actually domestic pigs that somehow got loose, and they have no fear of humans because, and they're smart. Yeah, that's nice. I mean, I'll take a wild pig any time of the week if I'm out hunting and I see one and it's in season. Uh, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. I'll do that all day long. I mostly go for deer, and a lot of guys up here in Kentucky, they'll take a deer and they'll give you all of the deer except for the backstrap, which would be called like the loin. They'll keep the loin part of the deer and just get rid of the rest of it because they don't want to deal with it, right? But me, man, I'll stew every bit of that thing right down to whatever and eat it. I don't care.
That is one thing I am looking forward to if I ever get to Texas is taking out a couple of pigs.
The thing with
Although,
wild pigs is if you kill a male, you got to kill him immediately, instantly. You got to hit him where he
mhm,
drops dead on the spot, or they foul their own meat, and then you can't even eat it. But if you kill a sow, they they're no different than any kind of pork you might buy in a fridge.
I never heard
But
that.
the males, if they're not castrated, yeah, they'll just you hit them, and they're before they die, they just flood their entire bloodstream with like nasty stuff, and it taints the meat. So, you know, and then up in Kentucky, my relatives are whacking coyotes because somehow they made it from your state to my state, and they're running amok. So the
Sorry
state of
about that,
Florida
man.
told everybody, go out and kill coyotes for the love of God.
Dude,
Yeah.
I almost killed uh, a couple of coyotes with Jackie in tow on the way to school. He still had training wheels on his bike, and I had to put my bike in between him and them as they were digging through some trash cans on the way to school one morning. I mean, literally, the day we moved into this house, we turned in this one road, and there were three coyotes sitting on the corner, like, "Hey, welcome to the neighborhood. Guess you have to deal with us." And if I go out outside in the backyard after 10 o'clock. You can hear them yipping and talking and doing their thing across the freaking main road. Uh, and it's such a it's not even quite like a square mile of area that they live in, but you oh, that's really
Looks
nice.
really good.
I'm really jealous.
Yeah,
That's a really
it's
nice piece.
3D print from Thingiverse.
Nice.
I'm even more jealous of those round ones that
Yeah,
Bruce is still painting. It's like
yeah.
every time I see
How
him,
many is he
it's
making?
been like 6 months and he's still painting books, and I'm like, dude, there's some tricks to painting bookshelves, Uh, just I mean, and you guys saw my Discord. I just painted like 9 of these. I'm thinking of actually buying some more because I found a place that has
Check the post. Waiting for War of the Ring. Oh, he ordered Lord of the Ring. Yeah, post. He
the
means the
War of the
memo.
Ring. Is it that's like a miniature game though, right, James? From what I remember, I
I don't know. I don't know if he's talking about the Games Workshop Middle Earth role playing or Middle Earth war game. It's a
I
great
think
war
he is
game though.
because I had the SPI version back in the day that's now worth like hundreds of bucks if you can find it. That had the art from the
Nice,
cartoon on it.
nice.
I
Yeah,
thought it
Games
was.
Workshop, the same people who make 40K, they make a Lord of the Ring game,
Mhm.
and so the starter boxes, some of them are amazing. They're like the Rohirrim box, come
Yeah,
with
those
like
those
a whole
came out.
army of
Dude, those came
Rohirrim.
out before Jackie was born. I remember seeing those at Brooker's Hobbies
Okay.
uh, right as you walked
It's the
in.
big board game that plays kind of like Risk, where you have to
Mhm.
move your troops through, and the forces of Sauron regenerate. So when you kill him, he can get them back, but the good guys don't get their guys back.
Yeah,
And yeah, I know that game. I saw that game on the where the two British guys measure everything by the size of a pear or something.
the one I'm
Yeah,
talking
I
about.
know what you're talking about,
The
James.
one I'm talking about. It was up to 3 players. You had the Fellowship of the Ring, you had Sauron, and you had Sauron. And
Right.
the Fellowship player has but one goal is to get the ring some way, not necessarily the same way they did in the book, but to Mount Doom and they win. But they've only got like one counter that represents the party, whereas Sauron and Sauron, the Saruman, have the ability to like muster huge freaking armies while they're playing to try and get the ring and then become the winner. And I just got in the game, and for some reason my old man got real pissed off at me, and he decided he was going to throw that away as punishment. And I found it in the trash, but for whatever reason, one of the map boards was missing. You know what I mean? And could never find it, and I ended up just like having to throw the whole game away because couldn't play it without half the map missing. And every once in a while I go look and see how much it is, and it's like $240 if you can find it. Yeah.
One thing
Exactly.
James L said about the pigs, he's 100% right. They're very destructive. And for a while there at Daniel Boone National Forest in Kentucky, the state forestry guys would let you just go in there and kill them because they up, to create like wallering holes and stuff like that. And down here in Florida, they'll pay you to do that too because they'll go into an orange grove and they'll literally just tear the orange trees right out of the ground. I mean, I've seen, what do you call them? Packs, herds? I don't know what you call a bunch of pigs, but I've seen them and there might be 30, 40 of them all together, you know, and it's half of your hobby is tracking down the expansions. Yeah, I feel that. Well, no, I don't really feel it since I'm playing Battletech more often. Well, Battletech and Agricola are the two main games I play, and right now is kind of the golden age. I mean, Battletech miniatures are readily available and cheap,
Yep.
so
Bubba's been doing a
that's
lot of
good.
a lot of BattleTech videos lately,
Well,
and
I'd hoped you and Jackie would play, but
dude, I still, for the life of me, can't find the game that you sent us. I have no idea what happened to it.
did we
Um,
give them away?
no, no. We have no one to give things away to. I want to say it's probably actually in his bedroom, because he and Grandma switched rooms, but they didn't switch all the stuff out, which is something we have
Mm,
to do because Grandma had to move from being upstairs to live downstairs because stairs, she's
right,
old.
she's getting where, yeah,
It's just it's not it's not.
stairs are not your friend.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to see her do the Eddie Murphy down the stairs. Um, if you know, you know. That great old skit.
So
And
you're still doing 40K. I just got rid of like all of my 40K, all of it. Um, Hero Quest. I've got Hero Quest and I've got Warhammer Quest, if you remember that one.
I I
And I've
I, I,
also
I
got
do it.
3 complete boxes of the. I'd have to go out in the garage and look at, but it's the one where you build the board with the hexes, the plastic hexes that all pop together.
Heroescape, Heroescape, Heroescape.
Yeah, I've got 3 complete boxes of HeroScape,
That's
like the
that's still
original one.
actually really that's still really popular. Believe it or not.
A
Um,
lot of people use that stuff to play Battletech.
yep.
I dropped my ice cream. Ice cream. In the state of Kentucky, it is 100% against the law to walk around with an ice cream cone in your back pocket. That's true. You can look that up.
In your back pocket, front
And
pocket, okay.
yep, HeroScape. And you guys can see from my little picture there that my boy Cold Iron Skillet hooked me up and made me look like a House Merrick mech warrior. And all the people there are like, "Yay, you're the best." And in the last one, it's me in a Warhammer shooting at somebody while I'm singing "I Like the Way You Kiss Me" by Artemis. And of course Shadow features in a lot of them too. Shadow had a whole story arc.
You're very funny, motherfucker. Yeah.
So
I am going to take full credit for the Viper pilot run. That was my idea, and
that was actually really awesome.
yeah, my favorite is the one with the us outside the grocery store. I When he first started doing, I'm like, oh my god, he's got to do this one. And I told him, hey, do a picture of us on some like mini Vipers out in front of the grocery store because I mean, right? Tell me that one wasn't,
Yeah, that's a good
That
one.
was a good one.
You know.
it's just
Now
like
he
I
did
mean,
one of me dressed up like a barbarian chasing chickens down with a KFC hat on.
I saw that one too.
Yeah, not sure about that. But the Warhammer that he has in that one, I love that, and I'm going to paint one of my Warhammers exactly like that.
You know what really bummed me out though, because the other one was my idea as well. No, I'm not taking you back downstairs, you little bastard. Was the snow trooper one? I was like, you know what? That's a good one. That was also my idea. To put us in different Star Wars uniforms as well. And he did us on Hoth, one image, and then just left it alone. I'm like, that was really
Did you
good.
see the
That was a
one where
real.
you and I are aggravating Elon Musk?
I don't think I maybe, but I don't.
we're
I'd have to
dressed
see
up
it
like
again.
Viper pilots, and we have little miniature Vipers in our
Oh
hand,
yeah,
and
yeah,
we're
yeah, yeah,
looking
yeah,
in
yeah,
this window, and he's like on the phone looking pissed off.
yeah. I remember that one. That was good. That was just like kind of esoteric though, but it's still good. But it's not quite you know as fire as the
And then
other
he
ones.
did the one where we're running through the grocery store dressed like Viper pilots, and it looks like Asmongold is like commenting.
Uh huh.
And then we got Uncle Jesse calling us losers while we're trying to explain our Vipers to him
Yeah, that was that,
in
that was
front of
kind
the
of
old general store.
that was kind of fun too. You never see Jesse anymore.
Yeah. But I think my favorite one is the one where just you and I are dressed up like Viper pilots and we're on the little like 25-cent ride Vipers
Oh yeah,
in
yeah.
front
That
of like
that
a
that that
Dollar
one had to
General
be
or
made.
some shit.
Exactly, that one
I
had to be
mean,
made. It was just come on,
and
dude.
that was
That's
your
that's
idea because that's a good idea. That
it
was
was. It's
really.
just if you can't laugh at yourself, then you don't
And here
understand
we
your.
are dancing with Cylons, and there's a goth chick in the background with a Bauhaus shirt on.
Hmm, hmm.
I mean, that
I
dude is prolific.
now that I'm thinking about it, I want to see us in the X-wing pilot uniforms. That would be fun. A couple,
Well,
especially if you can get us like teaching the young Viper pilots. Having us stand up on the podium. This is how you get into the Death Star or some shit like that. Um,
he
but then,
should
of
make
course,
one like
uh,
at the end of the first/fourth movie and
yes,
have you
exactly.
up there getting like a medal and just have me standing on the side with no medal,
That would
like
be cool too. That
Chewbacca,
would be cool too. But then if
because
he's going
Chewbacca
to do
never
that,
got a medal.
right? I know. What was up with that? Wait a minute, didn't he get a medal? But you just never saw him get the medal.
I
I'll
don't
go through
think
my
he ever
Star
got
Wars. I'll go
medal.
through my Star Wars cards because I still have my original, like, complete collection of the Star Wars cards and stickers, which is worth a
Now, I
freaking.
was surprised to find out that apparently at some point you and I had been kamikaze pilots.
That was definitely a strange turn of events. But he's got to
Yeah, it's
also
like,
do us in Imperial officer uniforms, like on the Death Star. Maybe
oh,
like
that would be cool.
with Darth Vader, like totally like reading us the riot act. What's up,
Right.
Swords and Stones? He was just like, like or choking both of us. Like, that
And
would be.
There's that
and
there's like
then
the
you got
AI
us
series
being
about
hobos.
stormtroopers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're just
just.
hobos sitting on the side of a train track frying eggs.
I mean, all of them are great, dude. All of them are t-shirt worthy. Absolutely. Hey, you are a dog. Don't forget it.
See, this one, it's like a video game, and we're like NPCs in the video game. And
Mm-hmm.
apparently it says you smell like a bona fide bitch stranger. So I don't know
You
what
never
we're
know what's
doing.
going through Cold Iron's actual brain at the time, but uh, it's almost like he's made us into Fred and Charlie from Phineas Fingers. If anybody out there remember that cartoon strip from Dragon Magazine, where there was the two fighters, Fred and Charlie, that would just be in the background doing you know stuff. I love that comic strip. I love that comic strip. It really should have gone farther. It was absolute genius in
You
Dragon
and I
Magazine.
line dancing in a country bar.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I did that, but I had a gray hat, not a brown.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's got to remember the color coordination thing. My entire wardrobe, literally, I kid you not, guys, since I was 14, has been all black.
You're the
When I
man in
learned
black,
about
like Johnny Cash.
yeah, when I learned some things about dressing myself, and I had the opportunity to pick out my own clothes, which was around 14. I started having money of my own, and I'm like, you know what? Uh, let's just go with something simple so that it always matches, it always looks good. You don't have to use bleach. You don't have to use hot water. Make it really simple. And when I moved out on my own, it was really cheap. Uh,
So how about the one where we're in the back of a white van and I look like I'm getting ready to kill somebody because there's no candy?
I don't
Have you seen
remember
that
that.
one?
I've
You and
seen
I
them
are
all.
in
I
there
mean, I
and
I
you're like
literally
effing
checked.
typical, and I'm like, no candy, kicking time, ass
Yeah,
kicking
okay, I
time.
remember that one now. I literally
Yeah,
check Discord like pretty regularly, but I check my stuff, where if I've gotten any messages, then I'll go check your channel, memes only, and then my channel, memes only, and then I go back to whatever it was I was doing, because you never know when Cold Iron is going to drop a meme that's just gonna, make me chuckle and go about my rest of my business. Um,
the one he
in
did for Saxius is pretty amazing.
No.
The rogue trader Saxius Maximus,
Shadows Corp.
and it's
Because I was a bad
Saxius.
dude, James. I was a bad dude. Yeah, that was actually. I mean, he could literally never do another one for him, and he still would have got one of the best.
That one's pretty perfect, and I hope
Mhm.
Oscar grabbed it. I told him it was there. I was like, "You need to
Mhm.
grab that." But you and I
And,
hanging
and, and,
out in
and
Japan with hot Japanese chicks—that's cool. And apparently
definitely on my
watching sumo
bucket
wrestling.
list. I was thinking about that the other day. It's like, if I was ever going to go, uh, two or three people I'd invite. Obviously, first on the list, of course, is Holy Diver, because you need a tour guide. And I guarantee we'd be getting into some trouble. But then you and Hungar
You know,
would be
he
the
don't
next
live
one.
far from you.
No, no, it doesn't.
He's West Coaster.
hmm and he's a solid dude. Despite the way he comes across, a certain way, you know,
Dude, you don't gotta tell
exaggerated.
me. Holy Diver and I are actually friends.
Yeah, well, we're all friends, but I mean, I know what you mean.
Yeah, but I mean, I've known him forever.
Yeah.
We
Well,
talk.
he was,
I know.
believe it or not, he is the only person to ever send me a super chat over on Rumble, and to this day, I have not been able to collect because I don't go to Rumble anymore. My videos post there. If you guys are watching right now, I'm sorry, but half the time they won't let me in. For whatever reason, because I don't know my own password, which is the same password I use for like half of my stuff, and so I just, I'll see you there. You have family in Japan? Okay, okay, that would be cool. That would be cool, James. Get a bunch of us freaking gaijin over there, just causing trouble and getting into shenanigans. Nothing
I got
immoral
you
or
guys
illegal.
beat because I have family in Vietnam.
I don't know. I think I'd rather visit Japan. Just saying, dude. Just saying.
Oh,
Uh,
the new one is me singing a rap song,
oh, really?
and it shows the Merrick Warhammer blowing a House Kurita dragon to bits, and in the foreground is Haas in his House Kurita uniform crawling away. And I'm
Bubba
singing
just
about
he
how
was
they never should have let me out of the penitentiary.
But Bubba just one of his last comments was, you know, somebody said something. He's like, "That's it. I'm playing House Garita."
Oh, it's
Literally, I guess.
because of that meme shows the House Merrick Beck blowing that
Okay.
Kurita dragon up and the Kurita pilot, which is my brother, crawling away. And I'm in the cockpit of the Warhammer singing a rap song.
It's funny. I
I
was
think
thinking
that's
a minute ago,
NWA.
when
That's an
if a
NWA.
bunch of us actually went to Japan, there's like a lot of trouble you could get into, but the trouble we'd get into would be in some sort of like toy sector, where we're freaking trying to carry all these boxes of model kits and stuff like that, and somehow we'd like drop one on somebody famous and important, and it would be a big thing, uh, and we commit some sort of faux pas not knowing the etiquette, bowing too much, and then dropping more packages, or just making a big old freaking embarrassment of ourselves, which to us would be like no big freaking deal, but over there they would just like, oh my god, don't look, it's so weird over there.
Uh, you know, Holy Diver went there, right?
That's why I brought him up. Is going over there. We'd have a tour guide
Oh, the
who
Japan
maybe
thing. Okay, now it's all making sense.
yes. And,
Yeah,
we'd have
he
somebody
speaks
who knows
Japanese
a little
somewhat.
more than we do about going there to go shopping, because I'm pretty sure he goes there for a completely different reason. Uh, can't blame him, but
Well, I mean, he's a young man, and he
if
told the story about like he was talking Japanese to two older Japanese ladies, and they took him out and got him hammered and paid for it.
well, yeah, they were probably
Like,
thinking something's going to happen. You know what I'm saying?
they there's a thing in Japan where like married and older women can actually like pay a younger man for a date,
Yep,
but like no sex, but you just give them the whole girlfriend treatment,
yep, and vice versa. There's all kinds of
and
weird
vice
things,
versa. Yeah, it's
and I
like a
believe it or not,
Japanese wife. As long as you give her all of your money, she really don't care if you have a mistress. It's like weird.
which is insane, but okay. Because that sounds like it's just gonna, you would think that it would end worse than that, because you would think that there's something going
Well,
on, but I guess not. And
married
I've
man
actually,
in Japan has to get an allowance from his wife. So when you get paid, you give your wife all the money. And then depending on how much you get paid, she decides how much you get per day for lunch. And then her job is to run the house.
yeah, that's why I could
Yeah,
never live there.
you're like, no way, I could never do that, right? I could do it because it's basically how I do it now.
No, no, my money's my money.
Except I don't have a
Or,
Japanese wife. I've got a Dane for a wife.
but James, I do actually occasionally watch videos on other cultures like that, and I have watched a few. Like I know the don't walk and eat, and you don't take up
Yeah,
more than one
that's
space on the
crazy.
bus, on the train, or whatever, stuff
They
like
don't
that.
like beards. They consider beards to be nasty,
Yeah. Well, uh, to
unclean.
be honest, uh, I totally get that. I don't know why women tolerate it, or why even some women dig it. I think it's kind of weird, but
You got a beard, dude.
I know. It's like I try to look at it from the other side. It's like, if women had them, no, no, little
Ain't no
peach fuzz,
jealous
get the fuck
because
out
they
of here with
can't
that.
grow beards. Anytime you see an Asian dude with a beard, it's like the thinnest, wispiest little beard. It's like, that's adorable.
Yeah, yeah,
And they're always the most badass dude in whatever movie they appear in. Like
yep,
the last dude you want to mess with is a 90-year-old dude with the wispy little beard. He'll kill you,
yep,
snatch
and he
your
won't
heart
even think
out,
twice.
you know?
Yep, and he won't think twice about it, which is hysterical. But
You could pull a Johnny Somali and go to South Korea and mess around with their pleasure women statues. And then, like Johnny Somali, you'll be looking at 15 to 20 years in a South Korean prison.
Hmm.
no thanks, no thanks.
They
Do you remember when they
funny.
made him the Golden Goblin?
No, I don't even know who he is. So
Johnny
Oh my,
Somali's an idiot. That was
yeah,
like a shock guy. You watched him basically annoy people, and he made money doing it.
yeah,
He went to
okay,
Korea and thought it'd be funny to rub one of their like sacred statues with like
like
baby oil or
yeah,
some shit.
I think it was
So
like
it pissed
twerking
him
on
off
it or
so
something.
much. Right.
It,
And it
it was
was to
yeah,
literally
represent the women the Japanese had abused.
yeah, and he
And
also
so,
like made a mess of like at a like like a convenience store, like a 7-Eleven out there. Like he just like sort of throwing some of the food around and stuff and causing trouble. I think that's where he's
causing
kind of
all
a,
kinds of trouble.
yeah.
yeah, that sounds like a great way to get arrested
It
in a
literally
foreign country.
the funny thing
They
is
had to arrest him before someone killed him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because
yeah
what happened
there
is
were
all the Koreans got together and they called him the Golden Goblin. They started tracking him. And then he got out of the hospital after getting jumped by like 3 Korean dudes, and he was walking across the street, and this other dude ran up and just jacked him up. And when they found the dude that jacked him up, it turned out he was like Korean Special Forces. And so Johnny
Yeah, I
Somali
mean, it's just
actually
like it's just
cool.
like
So yeah,
it's,
and now he's
it's just
going to
like
end up
here,
in prison.
all these internet printers. Yeah, I don't know half of these people,
Yeah,
if not 99.9% of the people you guys talk
Japan
about
messed up,
sometimes.
and Japan just kicked him out. The Japanese were like,
Yeah.
Right,
"Here's your passport. Get the f out of here."
right. How hard is it to just like be respectful, be polite, learn a little bit about where you're going before you go there,
Mhm.
so you don't do the stupid things and you don't do like the really, really dumb things and you don't do the illegal things that will get you,
George
beat up.
told you.
Like,
George told you he did this on purpose. That's what we're telling you. He did
Yeah.
no, I
all the
know, but I
I
worst
think
mean,
shit on purpose and filmed it.
yeah. If you think of his motives, the only thing I can think of, he's like one of those people who just want to be famous so bad that he does the stupidest stuff. It's it's like it's just bizarre.
I don't get it. I never will. I've
I
been
get it.
all
He's
over,
got like a
and
65 IQ
Hmm.
and
well, with
no
a last
impulse
name like
control.
his, you could kind of infer that.
I mean, because to oil up one of those lady statues and like kiss it and shit, that is like, that's like talking about somebody's mom right there. He had to know that it was going to go
Yeah.
bad, and it went real bad. It went real bad. They were
Yep.
hunting him throughout Seoul,
He
Korea.
he
They
was
were
handing out
literally tracking and hunting him.
one thing he was doing was handing out North Korean propaganda too, which was like another illegal thing.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Or standing on
the
public
funny thing is,
transportation with his phone all loud, saying like North Korean
yeah,
propaganda shit
yeah.
and talking
The
shit.
funny
That's
thing,
like literally like begging for something really, really awful to happen.
have you
Doesn't it
guys ever?
sound?
Crazy thought since he went to Israel, did that shit, and Israel just kicked him out. So he went to Japan, and the Japanese were like, "Get the f out of here." And then he went to
Uh-huh.
South Korea, and they're like, "You will never leave. You are going to prison." And so there you
Yep.
go. Lesson learned: do not f around in South Korea because they will just lock your ass up. But now
Yeah.
I'm
They
actually
said,
leaving, Shadow
Oh, okay.
and George.
see.
Good to see you,
Take
George. I
care.
don't think I ever seen you before.
Oh no,
I
yeah,
What
mean,
are you
probably.
talking about?
Well, on the streams perhaps, but not like been on a stream with you. I'm just in chat all the time on
right?
yours.
Yeah. Well, you can
George is a
always
great
join.
guy.
And Shadow, you can always join too, brother.
Yeah. I know. I've been really bad about it, but timing is something
Which
I'm
I've been
trying to get
having
a hold
fun
of
joining your stream in the morning. That's why I texted you this morning. I was like, "Where's the stream at?" I woke up.
because because that's a Monday through Friday thing. Weekends, my weekends are busy up until right
You
before
should
I
have
do the
joined us
show.
last night when Janet was on the stream. We had a
Yeah,
blast.
yeah. I was on, not on, but I was in her chat on her show earlier, and I talked to her a bit over there, and I'm going to be on her show coming up because we got some stuff to talk about. Uh,
Mm, yeah, I'm yawning. I'll catch you guys.
all right, take
All
care,
right.
man. Mr. James, my brother from Australia, how you doing, man?
Hey,
Good. Let's see if it works. Hey, George, how you doing?
good.
I don't know how long this will hold up, but I'm using Google Chrome, so it might be a little bit better. But
We got to
doing
get
all
you a really good cheap like better tablet because that I mean
right.
that's all it
I'm
takes.
kind of already saving up for one, but every time I get close to my target, I'm like, "Oh, that's a nice looking Hero Quest expansion," or that's a nice or that's a nice book, or like comic omnibus. Like I'm kind of getting into that as well.
I'm
So
telling you, dude. I decided on two things after this month. 'Cause it's my birthday this month, so I'm kind of
Happy birthday.
buying myself a couple little things because I know under the old Shadow birthday tree there ain't going to be anything game oriented whatsoever. I'll get a tie or something. I haven't
Sure,
worn a
yeah.
tie in 40 years. But I've been going with omnibuses and CD collections. Like everything from, let's say, Tom Petty. I haven't bought Tom Petty, but I might. I bought the Eagles complete CD collection. That looks like a lot of fun.
It's big. It's big. But don't let me derail you. I just wanted to unbox it because I've been waiting for it all afternoon. So
No. You know what? As a matter of fact, George, let's give him the big screen.
Oh, great.
okay. A giant
Like,
Yeah, I
head.
want to see this, man. I want to see
cracking
this.
unboxing, as the bard says.
Yeah. So that's the.
Can we mirror it, or is it because it's mirrored? I think, or is it?
It looks. No, it's backwards. I don't know how to do that. That internet
I think it's
witchcraft.
on his end.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't even notice that. But you can. I mean, you can see it's like. I mean, I said to someone, you can shrink my head again if you want. But someone said to me, "Oh, I hope you've got a big table," because like they're quite into it, and they're like, it has a few superficial elements, like the combat is maybe a little bit more like, say, Risk or something
Mhm.
like that, and a few elements that are like diplomacy. It's not easy for the good guys to win through fighting. You kind of have to make a mad dash for Mount Doom.
That's the
But
way the
there are,
original was.
yeah, but like the longer you spend fighting, the more difficult it's going to get for you because the shadow is going to kind of fall over the whole land, kind of thing.
Just make more and more troops, and eventually just cover every hex,
Pretty
if you
much.
will, with something.
Pretty much. And the first part of the game, you've kind of got to go around convincing people that there's actually a real problem and they should mobilize. Because at first, no one's really that interested, just like
Mm-hmm.
the trilogy. But I did get the other day the first expansion came for it, and that adds a lot more depth in terms of the personalities.
Mm.
And each one, it kind of evens things out a little bit more. There's another one that adds more to like sieges and the kind of human kingdoms. There's another one that adds like ants and giant spiders and kind of corsairs and stuff, like pirates and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a lot to it.
Nice.
I mean, I only know one other person who is autistic enough to play this game with me. It's probably my brother would get quite into it. But I just got that it had a lot of replayability and a lot more depth. And because I'm doing 40K and I'm doing some historical stuff, I don't really want to do a big fantasy war game as well. It's kind of biting off more than I can chew. So
Sure. Especially
yeah,
those. Every one of them, it is just like a money pit. Oh
a
well,
little
I
bit.
got this army, but now I should make another. I should invest in another army so I have someone for someone else to play. You know what
A
I
little
mean? Do
bit.
the work
So,
for
so
them.
my main hero quest, my main sort of fantasy thing is hero quest when it comes to miniatures based stuff, which is a little bit more digestible and a little bit more affordable. I got the Ogre Horde box just a couple of days back.
I still have a couple of ogres from that box set somewhere.
Well, that was one of the original expansions. Yeah,
Mhm.
that you could get.
Have they reissued the original, or is there you still have to find them like on on sale, like
What you mean?
secondhand?
Is it the? Oh, is it a reissue? Yeah, I know. I just buy things that are like remakes because it's
Yeah. The amazing thing is that the remakes are identical rules wise, as far as I can tell. And everything else, but you're not paying the gigantic price of having original print. Which to be honest, the quality wasn't that great back then, and now that it's 50 years old, you're gonna have to treat it with kid gloves, the originals. know,
Yeah.
so they don't get ruined and fall apart. With the new stuff, they're a little sturdier. They're gonna last at least to 50 years. So, you know, you'll have it for a good long time. You'll be able to play it with a lot of different people and not worry about it, you know, treating it like it's glass and
I
fragile.
mean, with some of the reissues, they tweak them, but usually it's because some of the very old games, particularly some of the very old Hex Encounter games, were a little bit broken. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like a lot of these companies were like in the era of like when first you could buy things like Rules Cyclopedia or just D&D. Um, like there were a lot of competing things that probably weren't as well play tested. Same as
Mhm.
like the SPI games. Like a lot of the SPI games hold up really well, and you can basically download all of them free. Like they're all print and play.
Yeah, I got a couple of them here. I've got John Carter. I think I've got uh, Starship Troopers, Gunslinger. Every once in a while, I go back looking through the SPI, the Avalon Hill, and
Mhm.
the what was the other one? Task Force games. All made some really really nice quasi bookshelf games that one of these days, I'll be able to say, hey, it's game night at the shop. We're playing this game. Come on down. Oh, what was that? Rebellion 2300 or something like that. Oh my God, it had such a great, absolutely stunning cover with the three characters, like two humans, a male and a female, and then that awesome lizard man in the middle. They're the rebels. Oh my God, I've got 3 copies of that game because over the years I had to buy that many different copies to go through every counter and make sure I had a complete set. And then I've got bits and pieces in the other 2 boxes.
Mhm.
One of these days I'll actually find some way to make a poster of that cover for that game. It was just so iconic. I told myself as a kid, one day I'm going to get that game. When I could get $20, I'm going to get that game. When I finally got it, it was still $20, and I was 20
think
years
I
older.
remember. I think I remember finding like $50 on the street as a kid and like rushing to Games Workshop and buying like a paint set and a box of like Epic Eldar, I think it was. Because I was like, oh, well, for $20, I can get like, a whole army in a box, rather than.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
I,
that was
I,
my thinking at the time. But yeah, I had a lot of fun painting them and like even just mixing the paint and being a bit more adventurous, like, oh, if I want a bone color, like instead of going out and buying one, like I probably would now, it's like, yeah, I'll just add a little bit of leather brown to like white or whatever,
mhm.
you know. But yeah, I'm kind of getting back more into the board games because some of these tabletop war games, they're a bit of an undertaking in terms of space and money
There's something to
commitment.
be said about buying one box and you're done.
Yeah,
You still get
or
you get
like,
you get the whole experience. You're not constantly dumping money. And like with Hero Quest, you can still break out the paints, paint them up,
yeah,
customize
yeah.
them, do whatever you want with that,
Well,
and still get that aspect of the hobby, and still have a
if you do
game that,
add an
face it.
expansion, if you do add just like one or two expansions, you do end up with enough figures to play like pretty decent skirmish games anyway. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm. Hmm.
it's just less of a, I don't know, like this year I was kind of like, I spent a lot on my hobby and I accumulated a lot of really complicated stuff that I enjoy nerding over, but that I don't necessarily want to commit to. So I sold a lot. And now it's just mostly I have my little 40K crappy magazine subscription that is probably
Hmm.
the only entry point I have into that game, and I'm really getting pretty good value out of it, really, like at my end of the world. And then I've just got my Airfix stuff and my fantasy board games, and it's great. I mean, yeah, box a whole Roman army here for like $30 in 172 plastic. Yeah, it's like 67 figures or something in there for like
That's
30
decent.
bucks.
What
Yeah.
rule set are you using, or do you have like a bunch?
I got a whole heap. I mean, I tend more towards like just simple skirmish games, but I mean, even some of the classics like Tony Bath's Ancient Wargaming with like a
Okay.
Hyperborean campaign. Some of these old rules, they're very like dry and table driven, but they're a good read. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And they kind of have if it's historical stuff, like they'll give you a potted history that is a bit more digestible, like same as like the Osprey books,
Those are all. Every one that we have is just absolutely gorgeous. Those books are, you know, top 10 material on any gamer's list.
I mean, there's so many periods that you could never. I mean, at one point I was like, oh, I'm going to just do everything, right? And it's not really that
Feasible.
achievable.
I
But
mean,
that's
unless you're,
why I have
you know,
things like the old Hex Encounter games, like this has like heaps of battles in it and maps and stuff like that. So, generally speaking, I'm trying to siphon my interest off into like one box, like you said, you know. But,
it, in the long run, you really have to look at, what are you actually going to get to actually play. I've got hundreds and hundreds of games that I know I'll probably never ever get to play. I mean, I would literally have to like kidnap people or hire homeless people off the street. It's like, hey, I'll give you $20 if you play this game, huh?
go down
Huh?
to go
I don't
down
have to
to
take my
Home
pants off,
Depot.
do I? No, 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 no.
Go down
You
to
know what I
Home
You
mean?
should
Depot and
you
hire
should run on
some.
that platform. I'll clean up the homeless in California by having them play war games.
I
Yeah,
would
I mean it's
literally.
kind of. I think GMT Games is like based in LA, so that's kind of good for the economy somehow. Like dice sales will go up, you know. Like
But yeah, I mean, you could like Rob Oren, he's a great guy, but he's got like storage units full of games that he's selling, because he's older than I am, and he's
mhm.
even though he's got a son who's into it, you can't do it. You can't play every freaking game. A lot of us like try to justify, well, I'm going to buy it, I'm going to read it and see what I can learn from it.
Yeah,
But no, you're not going to
and
get your
I
money's out.
I still have loads of books like that, but I cut my collection down by like half. I was like really brutal. I got rid of like pretty much exactly
I,
50%
I,
because
I
I was like, I already have more than I can digest on my shelf,
mhm,
already.
mhm.
So
That's why I started doing the omnibus thing, because reading is going to be for fun and enjoyment and trying to pull strategies and tactics and blah 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 for the gaming. No, no, I'll get more out of reading the Fantastic Four omnibus than I would out of the same dollar amount of game rule books. Now if it was for
I look at it
investment,
this way.
that'd be different.
You can get you can get a bit too sucked into like one interest and like it's like when you look at say something like Warhammer, it's like what was peak Warhammer era was when the people making it read different kinds of books across the range of things, whereas now a lot of the people who are making it are reading almost exclusively Warhammer books or fantasy books, right?
Mhm.
And it's that garbage in, garbage out principle. I'm not saying that, everybody has to rush out and read Jane Austen or something, but like sometimes it's good to just get a bit of variety in your diet because that's where
Mhm.
unusual ideas come from, really. Like they stick in the back of your mind and you're
That's
like,
that's what made all of 40K great, was that you could see and feel the influence of things like Dune, Starship Troopers, the things that were similar, but they had their own universe, if you will, of stuff to draw from. Even though Starship Troopers is like a mere 250 pages, and Dune is like 25,000 pages, even back then. Let's say not really, but you get the point. It was a melding of those things, and God knows what else. Lord of the Rings clearly was an influence on 40K because the orcs, the
yeah,
elves, etc. Alien, everything. you could almost draw a parallel from like anything into 40K. You can see how this one thing influenced some little or major aspect of it, and that's when it was great. And like you said, when they started, just smelling their own farts, sorry to be crude, but literally, that's when it went downhill. And it,
No, absolutely, absolutely, because it's, I mean, it's not like, I mean, take I was listening to, like, the history of Man O' War, like the naval game,
really,
and the guy who wrote that, he was an archaeologist, so he was drawing on a lot of like real understanding about how things are, as well as an
nice.
appreciation of kind of
You,
bending it to a fantasy setting a little bit, making it a bit crazy
mhm.
and like wild.
That was one of my all-time favorite GW products and gaming experiences with a couple of old friends of mine, long time ago. Um, and now, if you wanted to get into it, forget it. I mean, it's so hard to get the original pieces and bits and parts and rules and blah 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 that it, man,
Yeah, I think
easily you're looking at $1,000, and you don't even have 25% of it, of all the stuff that came out to put it on the table and have a couple of fleets of ships. I was looking at
well,
a box of.
there's a lot of card stock in those games as well that's a bit
Mhm.
hard to recover. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like,
exactly my point. That's what I was kind of referring to, all the templates and the cards for the individual ships. Because you could go out and probably look on different websites and have them 3D printed. Okay, I'm not above that, which is something I wanted to talk about before I say goodnight.
yeah.
You could print up all the ships and the sea monsters, but getting that card stuff, even good scans to try to reproduce it yourself, you're still looking at probably $1,000 before you and your buddy have got two fleets. You're on the table with some terrain, and you're ready to roll some dice.
I mean, some of the earlier editions of games like Mordheim and that kind of thing, they're a bit easier to track down, but that is a hard one. I also just wanted to say, just so George wasn't left out of the loop, um, normally I would call myself like a real skeptic about AI and AI art, but Shadow showed me some of the stuff that you did, like some of the sci-fi and like high fantasy stuff that you were kind of distilling or prompting or working
I
on.
showed him the God Wars file.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I was like, that's actually really nice. And one of the nicest things about it was like it doesn't look like everything else, which is a bit of a problem with AI stuff, right? Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think just having a certain background in I didn't really have an art background. I was architecturally trained, but
Hmm.
I would have gotten to art if I was more if I had a little more boldness to myself. I think. But
Sure.
yeah, but like
Yeah.
the terms, I think it was kind of help. Like I kind of understood, had ideas in my head, and I kind of understood how the language of that works. So
Hmm.
yeah, and I was just trying
Hmm.
to just make it a little. Yeah, I don't know what how like I don't know how other people's stuff comes like starts looking the same over and over. But yeah, I was trying to
Because
and I was trying to keep it
yours had
consistent.
a kind of almost sort of impressionistic, like
Mhm.
pointillist, and like the color palette was nice and bright. Like, sometimes a lot of these things are very grim and grimy, and
Yeah,
it all gets a bit samey.
Mhm.
So I was actually really impressed. I was like, that's probably the first set of like homespun AI images that I've seen where I'm like, oh, okay, actually maybe the machines are gonna win this one. you know, like,
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
yeah. I had fun doing it.
part
It was
I
just
think I think part of the reason it came out so well was because it was for this game we were playing, the God Wars, which was like a play by mail, play by post war game,
Mhm.
and George was really, well. That was weird. Really, invested in it. Unfortunately, because of a death and a hospitalization of a couple of the players' family
Ah,
members and
geez,
stuff. Yeah,
that's intense.
we had to. I wasn't gonna like cut players out, and eventually we'll get back to it and finish it off because I kept really good records, learning from you, James. Keeping records of where everybody's moving and doing the things, um, and he really with very little um, back and forth between the two of us. I tell him I need a this or that, and he read the rules, and which I should send to you because I think you'd get a kick out of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because it would
sure.
make for a phenomenal computer or board game. I think
Right.
in some future that he just like he nailed it on the kind of like over the top high fantasy that we were shooting for, right, George?
Yeah.
And that's hard to
Yeah.
do. That's hard to do because like there are no limits really. Like it's almost
Yeah.
Right,
easier to like do something to a mud core kind of dark ages
absolutely.
kind of style,
Absolutely,
you know?
and like some of those pictures, like especially like the title pages and stuff like that. T-shirts, man, T-shirts, posters.
Yeah.
I could literally have a room full of that artwork, and it wouldn't
Start
be enough.
started even doing like
Mhm.
little gifs and stuff at the end.
Oh
They
yeah, yeah, yeah.
they had
Little, yeah. The animated stuff that was awesome too. Um,
the I like the what was it when like when we were doing like the reports of each week and I'll try to make something out of it, like
yeah,
make an image.
that was awesome
Um
too. That was very awesome. Um, I and don't think I forgot, George. But I take care of a bunch of my other obligations. I could see doing making the role playing game, the board game, the video game, especially the video game, which would make for like a great like Hearts of Iron because that's what I was like watching Jackie play that and the other game that he was playing. I'm like, yeah, it all makes sense. The rules that I came up with, they literally kind of wrote themselves after we got to, the 1, 3, 5. You know what I'm talking about, George?
mhm.
Once we
the
got to that point, I was like, oh, this is it literally just kind of like wrote itself,
Yeah, there was like
and
a implied progression of things.
and it worked for everybody fairly and squarely, and yeah, remind me, James. I'll send you over the rules. You can take a look, and you'll be like, I would play
Yeah,
this.
'cause like
If
I
it was.
kind of like I kind of like a high fantasy setting that's like well done as a bit of a palate cleanser almost because you can spend all your time in kind of very low magic, kind of very almost realistic kind of settings and it's almost predictable what's going to happen sometimes. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
it's nice to
That's
go
kind of why I
into
rail against it so much because having played so many D&D type games, it's like I'll sit at somebody's table and like I already know what's going to happen tonight.
Yeah. One of my
And
favorite images was the biplanes fighting the dragons, like people riding dragons, and there's like people, right? Yeah, that was one of my
that
yeah.
favorites.
that one always comes to mind. But there's one you did of like what's that big archway in France?
Arc
Uh,
Triumph.
you made something like that with the people going through it like one of the gates
Mm.
to another world kind of thing. One of the ones he did of that, I'm just like that is like so exactly how I picture the kind of scope of this just freaking massive stone magical freaking thing that the armies are marching through to get into position, whether it was on the moon or another continent or country. I was just like, this is what I'm talking about. It doesn't have to be about when you go high fantasy. It doesn't have to be about like I'm flying through the air kind of superhero stuff. It could be more like grounded a
True,
little bit. You know what I mean?
but I do like magic being potentially very powerful and maybe like different planes of existence like you could move between things
That's
like
why
that.
I kept it to just the planet and the moons as more
Hmm.
battlefields to spread out to. But you had to develop the magic to be able to do that, and you'd be surprised who did what. I was watching everybody do these crazy things, trying to come up with these these brilliant strategies that I
Mhm.
honestly uh, didn't think of. While writing it, I'm like, they're going to just do this. They're going to build up and just do the kind of typical expansionist board gamey kind of things. But no, they're like, I want to build a freaking flying freaking continent. What?
Mhm.
One of the players
Yeah,
did that. He
yeah.
took his
You
whole
kind of
empire, just lifted up off the planet, and he's now got this stone Death Star peninsula, freaking raining hell down on people. It was awesome.
because you've kind of uncorked the potentiality a bit there, and people are a bit more like willing to go hog wild and throw
Mhm.
everything in. And I
Yeah.
mean, that can be
What?
just kind of a relief, because I think a lot of these games, like, even, and I'm not besmirching anyone's game, like I will never crap on anyone's rule set, because if you like it and it works for you, like you're probably doing something right, you know what I mean? But um even things like BattleTech, they're really more historical games at this point, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
there's such a deep lore and like a way to approach different ways of approaching it, and like, it's like a new setting where you ripped up the rules and like start over is like really refreshing, you know?
All right.
Yeah. There's
Okay.
really I really don't get to go into game stores to see like the new stuff on the shelves. So everything I hear from is like word of mouth, and unfortunately, the mouths that I hear words from, they're kind of they're stuck. They're like, these are the games I'm playing. These are the games I'm playing. These are the games I'm talking about.
And I get why. Like, one, it's expensive. You can't stay on top of everything that comes down the pipeline. It's just not
Mm,
humanly
yeah.
possible. And why would you? At what point would you want to? Because you're not stopping to smell the roses and like really appreciate
Mhm,
what you have,
mhm,
right? Which was always a problem I had. It was like when I was a heavy smoker. I was like thinking about the next thing rather than the thing in my hand. Like,
mhm.
you know. Um,
Yeah,
so
that's so true. I
you
don't know. I mean, I know I know why people like do what you did and purge stuff out of their collections. Like there's no way. There's no way I'm
well,
gonna.
we had a bit of a period where the bills were just coming in so thick and fast, and so many things needed fixing and replacing. I
Mhm,
was like, well, I can go raise a couple of grand with what I've got sitting here, and knowing that I probably wouldn't get to it for the next 3 or 4 years anyway. Like,
mhm,
so it wasn't a difficult choice because like I'm kind of the housewife in this situation, so I'm like, I'll chip in as well. But
and you were never
like,
like me, the antique collector. You know what I mean? Most of your stuff was
I could see myself going, oh yeah, one of the old wrapped Games Workshop games going for like a couple of grand or something. Like, I could see myself doing that and then realizing the second I take the plastic off, it's just gonna halve in value, like.
mhm, like
So
buying a brand new
I
car.
appreciate I appreciate reissues and version twos
Mhm.
and reboxings where like the rules are clarified, the minis are made of slightly nicer plastic, and the card stock is a bit thicker.
And Hero Quest is like the perfect rendition of that.
Yeah,
No money is being taken away from the collectors. If
no.
anything, it's breathing more life into the collector's hobby because now for a little bit of money, you can grab the old original game,
Hmm.
and keep playing it with new life. Nothing's changed from what I could see. Having the original Hero Quest rules, comparing them to the new ones, it was like
Well,
it's just a little bit of clarification, but nothing new
I
per
can give
se.
you the I can give you the rundown because I researched it a lot because I was like, I don't want to buy every expansion. I really just want to buy the original reissues, and that's what I've been doing. And so
Mhm,
the American rule set was generally regarded as the more coherent rule set, right? So
mhm,
that's what the reissue is. But some of the expansions were Europe only, and some of them were
mhm.
both US and Europe, and Australia got whatever Europe was getting, I think. But of all the reissues, they do add stuff, but it's all cross compatible more or less. And like Hero Quest is like one of those games where there's like maybe 30 or 40 years of house rules to make it work better. Like there's a lot of material out there that's basically free where you can just buy the core box and play homebrew dungeons forever,
Right.
So,
If you don't mind the limited number of monster minis, that's
yeah,
why I
yeah.
loved Advanced Hero Quest, because it used everything from the original as additions to it, and
Mhm.
it was a little bit more complex and going up levels. You felt like your characters were growing as opposed to just getting a new magic item or a new not magic item, but a new, like when you first get like the plate mail or whatever, it's like
Mhm. Yeah.
and it's kind of it's like, really, I mean,
Well,
what would it
I
be
have
like if
like
I
tiers
actually
of
had a magical sword or something,
I have I have tiers of game where like probably the lowest tier is something like that where I can play with anybody who's passing through. And
Mhm.
then probably the next tier is like something slightly more complex and militaristic that I would probably play with my brother. And then the final tier is just really nerdy stuff that's maybe like set in the 17th century or something that I'm playing on my own, like
Uh-huh.
those are the kind of
Totally.
levels, you know.
Yeah.
So I can show Ree Hero Quest and she'll have a fantastic time, but like I wouldn't really inflict like, oh, do you want to learn about the Franco-Prussian War? Like I
Right.
wouldn't really
Right.
expect that on her,
No. No. Or and a lot of people you probably, hang and talk to, etc. Be like, yeah, no, let even the experienced, advanced, gamers would probably be like, oh man, let's just play some freaking Hero Quest, man. Let's do it. You know, uh,
Yeah,
no
yeah,
matter
yeah.
how old we get, I mean, if you ever played Hero Quest, you're not too old to play Hero Quest.
So I
You know?
enjoy I enjoy reading some of the more complex stuff, like or like just going over it myself, like playing solo. But like most of the things that I buy and most of the things that I buy to paint are for beer and pretzels type games that I know I can rope friends and relatives into really easily.
Yeah,
Like it's just how it's got to
well,
be.
especially like
So
your
half
brother. I
of my
mean,
stuff is yeah,
he
yeah.
seems like a perfect fit, like you and Hungar. You know,
Well, my brother will basically, if you paint the minis and you read the rules beforehand in a cursory way, like he's quite I think he was a bit put off by the perception that most gamers nowadays are super competitive and not interested in the story or like just
mhm.
rolling to see what happens. I think now that he knows I'm a little bit more relaxed about stuff like that and that I'm not like in it to just win it,
Yeah,
he's much
and make
more
him look.
into the idea, and I'll go and do stuff with him that he likes doing, like shooting and camping and stuff. And
No, I mean, how could you not want to kind of do some of that stuff? I mean,
well, yeah, sure, especially when his black powder rifle arrives. I'm looking forward to that.
oh wow, dude, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
I just speaking of that, I just found out I was at the grocery store this morning, met a new friend, just some old
Mhm.
guy, long hair like me, looking at something
Mhm.
in the grocery aisle, going, "People are stupid." I can just see the look on his face. Man, people have gotten really dumb, and I'm like, that's what I said, man. We've gotten really dumb, haven't we? And we started talking, and uh, basically, it was this thing, right? It was a log. Okay, it was about this big, right?
Mhm.
About this by this, with a hole cut in it and a piece of rope tied to it for a handle, or nailed into it for a handle, that's supposed to be a
Right.
3 hour log that will burn for 3 hours. Okay, because it's got this cut in it, and you light the, so it just barely gives
Yeah.
you a
Yeah.
little bit of flavor. 3 hours, you know,
Yeah.
um, and it was like $10, and he's looking at it like, like, what the fuck? Why is why would you not just take your axe. You're in the woods. You chop down some wood. You pick up some wood and you make a fire. Why do I
Yeah.
buy this thing?
Buy
That's
an
like
axe for $10.
right. I was in the hardware store today, and I was thinking the same thing. And so we started talking, and it turns out that there. Long story short, too late. There are actually gun shows in my state, even though the governor banned all gun shows at uh, like parks and county fairs and stuff like that, like the big ones on like not necessarily government land, but something like government land. So private people could actually have gun shows. So there are some small gun shows still happening, which is fantastic because uh, my son and I, some of the most fun we've had in this town was going to the gun shows and looking at all this cool stuff that we could or could not, afford, or get away with buying, because of his mom, freaking out if I brought home a
Yeah.
Barrett, she would freak out. I could afford a Barrett, but if I did,
If
she'd be like, "Are you going to war?" I'm like, "No, I just want it," you know.
Yeah,
Um,
if I had one of my own, I'd probably just keep it at the club for very similar reasons. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. But
and so but I've picked up some things over the years. I like one of the last purchases I made. This guy had some swords on his table, and I talked him down 3 swords for $100. Well, one of them was the replica of the Highlander sword from the movie.
oh, yeah, yeah,
Okay,
the big,
in perfect
yeah,
shape,
yeah.
right? One of them was an antique uh, uh, Indian scimitar from a long time ago, right?
Mhm.
Uh, kind of beat up, but I could tell it was old. And then the other one was just a good old fashioned, um, kind of a broadswordy looking, medieval wall hanger. I got them 3 of them for $100. But I know right off
Ree
the bat,
loves Ree loves a lot of those American swap shows and like trade shows and stuff. And we often think of you when we see these things because I know you're a collector of like broad range of stuff. But one of the things I love them finding, amidst all the old kind of like novelty radios and gas stop signs and stuff like that, all
Mhm.
that stuff's nice, but it's crazy when they find like a working cannon, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
Absolutely nuts, you know?
And if you play your cards right, like if we give you an example, I had a sale on eBay. I sold 3 blister packs of miniatures
Hmm.
from 1980, $200.
Yeah, yeah. That's pretty
And
good. That's pretty good. I mean, that's another reason why I can't get into the kind of classic minis thing. I mean, there are a lot of things being reissued or still being cast by the same people.
fortunately, I know the guy who has the molds, the original
Really?
molds from 1980, and he has a small miniature business. I could say, hey, whip me up some of these. Okay, I could literally replace the blister pack miniatures 1 for 1 for probably, let's say, $40.
Yeah, that's pretty
And
good.
they won't be in lead. They'll be in, a white metal, tin, and whatever.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
will not rot. I won't have to worry about the blister pack popping open, and like you said, suddenly they're not worth half, the money that I just
yeah,
sold them for.
yeah,
So I'm selling that stuff slowly, and somewhere out in the states, a guy is going to get that package in the mail with a couple of free minis that I don't give 2 shits about, and he's going to open it up and go, "Oh my god, I finally got this thing to fill that slot in his collection." And in 10 years, it will be not worth $20 because the miniatures will rot away,
well,
and the blister.
hopefully he'll paint them. I mean, the good thing
Right.
is, I will say this: I could never do what I see people on Discord doing. Like, I really admire their painting, and that's why I follow it, right? But like,
Mhm.
I see people spending hundreds of dollars on just like a little regiment of like 16 metal dudes or something. And I'm like, yeah, I couldn't do that. Like, it would just feel really out of balance with like the rest of my responsibilities. But
Mhm.
um when they paint them, as they so often do, it's like, well, they're at least extending the life. You know, they give that a dull coat and a couple of coats of paint. It's going to
And
last a little bit longer.
the trick and the key is to pass it on.
Yeah.
That is the most important thing that we can do, right, Cal? Is find someone to pass it on to that will appreciate it. I mean, think about it. If like say you had an uncle, like a great old uncle or a grandparent that passed
Yeah.
away, and you found that in the will was a hand painted set of the old medieval like 54 millimeter scale metal, knights and shining
Yeah.
armor,
Well, any toy soldiers from that period, they're gorgeous. Like
right?
they have a
The
different
the
vibe. Like,
the
you know.
the connection you'd have to that person who's no longer with us, and
Yeah.
the sort of like a treasure, if you will. Sure, it's not made out of gold and but you could like every once in a while go, hey, show somebody, hey, check this out. Look,
Mhm.
let's play a war game with these. You break them out. Like when you have a dinner party and you break out the fine china. It's like, well, hey, we had a nice dinner. Let's go into the smoking room. I'll break out the table. We'll have a couple of
Well,
cigars.
I do agree with the basic experts like assertion that it should become a gentlemanly pastime again, and like,
Exactly what I was getting at.
I mean,
Uh,
some of us will just have like tea in our brandy glass, but like, that's okay.
and not necessarily a cigar or a pipe or whatever, but the fireplace is going. You've got a
Yep.
gentlemanly table. Maybe it's a sandbox table. Maybe it's just a table with a nice cover on it.
I
And
mean,
going.
one of the reasons why I'm so drawn to board games is not having to do all that terrain a lot of the time. But I've got a good little collection of terrain, and it's growing. So eventually the full spectacle will be there. You know what I mean?
That's why, Cal, people like you and me and James and George, we should find someone and invite them into, and have our Jedi, Padawan, and raise them up to be the next, Sith Lord of this particular, slice of the hobby, and teach
Yeah,
them.
I'll take on a
Yeah,
medieval squire if they want to play a
yeah.
few games.
So my daughter, the one that was painting today,
Mhm.
she's my youngest of the two, and the school that they go to, they kind of specialize in doing plays, like that's their kind of thing. And
Nice.
so they ask for kind of do a little bio, and she like lists all the plays she's played in, and then she lists her hobbies, and she put miniature painting as one of the hobbies. So that
That's
was
great.
sweet.
You
Yeah.
won it. You won at parenting, dude. You won.
Yeah.
And that will just like I thought for a while because Jackie wasn't hanging out and doing the things with the channel and stuff, and then lo and behold, he's running a game every 2 weeks with his bros, his guy friends, his girlfriends. They come over, they do the thing, and they've got the run of anything I got. You guys want to use it? Feel free. Nothing's off the table unless it's sealed in plastic. And
Well,
he goes through it regularly. And
in the photo you posted, none of them had their phones out. You know what I mean? Like that's a
one
good
of one of
sign.
the girls does have her phone out usually, um, because she's actually got ambient music playing, which is cool. And
Mhm,
sometimes they actually have one or two players that are playing via the phone because they can't be there
mhm,
in person.
mhm.
And I'm like, you have got the group here. Treat them
Yeah.
right, give them a good time, show them, that this hobby is, something that they can participate no matter where they go. They can always,
I mean,
phone in and do the thing.
even if only one or two of them carries it on, or they drop it in favor of like beer and girls and jobs and university, and then come back to it 10 years later. Like, you just sow the seed a little bit. You give them the tools to tell their own stories. I mean, what you were telling me about that group, is that for a game, it's like a little bit sci-fi, a little bit fantasy, a little bit pulp. Like
Mhm.
they're just throwing everything in there, and it sounds
Mhm.
great. They're not constrained. Like sometimes maybe an old grognard gets constrained by like his understanding of what is realistic.
Hmm. Hmm. And it's nice because, like, I've only met some of the kids I know better than the others. Trying not to cramp his style, but they've all
Mhm.
got like something else that connects them to each other, whether it's like religion or JROTC or the drama class and club or music class or something else. That's how they met, and then it just turns out that, hey, they want to play some D&D, which is, there's no D or D in the D&D, but
Well, the other thing is, parents, if you get your children into painting miniatures, they will not have enough money to buy pot. Don't ask me how I know. you know.
that is a good point. Which is funny because I don't know if you heard earlier. That's Jackie's job at the uh, uh, the prom tonight, is to do the hat check, coat check, security check at the front door to make sure they don't bring in anything they're not supposed to bring in. And I gave a few tips on how to do that, and uh, which is weird because
I
that
think
means
his I think his general disinterest in like intoxicants is a really good thing. I mean, at that age, everyone I knew was just itching to like get messed up.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, none
you
of his
know,
friends seem even remote. There's one kid who's like a little
yeah.
bit older. He's driving and he shows up and does the thing, but I don't think you know he would ever like invite the other kids to do that unless they were in
I think
college
there
or something.
I
I
think
mean,
there's
there's
a
always.
generational change where it's like less of a big people can kind of see through it a bit as a bit of a, there's a downside to all that craziness,
Mhm.
So,
Absolutely, absolutely,
yeah.
and good on them. They're all you know A students and that kind of thing, and they're not going to screw up their life. They're you know I think he's gonna have a lot of these friends for a while, unless he screws it up, because he can be kind of a little overbearing at times. But
Sure.
what
But
DM
I
isn't
mean,
at that age, you know.
yeah, I mean it is a bit of a thing. Like you do a lot of work as a DM, but there is a challenge, a danger of becoming a bit of a dick, like because you're just like very adversarial with the players and like you know trying to like kind of shunt them down a story pipeline that's maybe a little bit restrictive, but um, they do a lot of work. I mean, I have friends who are like really good DMs, and they've like taken years off because of the amount of like just being there every week and keeping things
Mm-hmm.
going. Um, and also, funnily enough, almost being like an agony aunt to a lot of the players as well. In the downtime, you've got kind of got to manage people's feelings as well, don't you? So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because
Yeah,
that's human
and
nature. I mean, it's funny. It's just you got to laugh about it because we can all be a little bit highly strung sometimes, right?
yeah,
So
nobody on the spectrum or anything like that.
no, not at all, not at all. Just happen to have a lot of really niche interests and hate going outside. you know.
But you appear to be outside. But folks, I
Yeah,
gotta
yeah,
say goodnight because we gotta go pick up the boy from the prom, and make sure he gets home safely. And it's a
yeah,
bit of a drive. So, wish us luck. I
Yeah.
will see you guys tomorrow. James, I'll probably call you in a day or two because I want to ask
yeah.
you
No
some
worries.
questions. George, I will
Everyone.
see you hopefully Monday if you're free. If not, don't sweat it. But everybody, have yourself a great Sunday. I want to also use the restroom real quick. So I will see you guys all later. Everybody who's
Yeah.
watching now or later, thanks for sticking around and playing along. We love you guys, and happy trails.